have run these canyons for 6 million years. I have traveled from the Rocky Mountains to the deserts, through scorching heat and freezing cold, from the land of the dinosaurs to fields of food.
I lend my hand to 7 states, 2 countries, 9 national parks,
and 36 million people across an arid West.
I am not the strongest or the largest, but I am the hardest working.
People love me.
My playfulness,
My beauty.
my power,
My life. But I don't think I can offer any more.
I am tired.
I am tired,
tapped,
and tied. Of the hundreds of major rivers in the world, I am one of the few who no longer kisses the sea.
Battles to harness my soul have been won and lost. Use me wisely, and I will sustain you.
Use me like you have, and I will break. My name is Red. The Grand River Red. The American Nile.
The Canyon Maker. I am the Colorado River.
And I am the most endangered river in America.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
Okay, friends and neighbors, we'll be back to the news of the day in just a moment here. But first, I've got one important question to ask all of you. Have you made your pledge yet to Free Speech TV? And if not, why the hell not? Come on, seriously. You know, we depend on you, we need you, and we count on you to keep us going here at Free Speech TV, because you're all we've got. We don't get any corporate money, we don't get any government money, so all of us, depend. Tom Hartman and Amy Goodman, all the rest depend, Stephanie Miller, depend on you to keep us going on Free Speech TV so we can continue the good work that we do, looking over the news every day, what's happening in Washington, what's happening around the country, what's happening around the globe, what are the important issues that we ought to talk about, particularly what are the progressive issues that we ought to be talking about and working on and fighting for, figuring out the best guests that we can get in studio or on the phone that particular day to help us understand these issues. And then, of course, opening up the phones and opening up the social media lines so you can get involved in the conversation and express your comments and your opinion on what it all means to you and to your family. That's what we do every day. We can only do it with your help. So we ask you to dig in once again. Help keep us on the air here at Free Speech TV. If you can just do $10 a month, that's $120 a year. We'll send you a BP mug, a Bill Press Show mug, and a pound of coffee from our favorite coffee shop just downstairs in this building, Peregrine Coffee. For $20 a month, $240, you will get a very, very special gift indeed. One of the great cheeses from Cowgirl Creamery out on the West Coast, right near where we live in California, Point Reyes Station. And for $30 a month or $360 a year, if you can make that pledge, you'll get the mug and the Cowgirl Creamery. And then, as a very, very special item to show you how much we appreciate your support, if you're in a position to pledge $1,000 to Free Speech TV, get yourself to Washington with a friend. Take the plane, take the train, take the bus, drive here, whatever. Carol and I will take you out to dinner the night before, and the next morning we'll invite you to join us in studio to meet the whole team here and to watch a special edition of the Bill Press Show. So with those incentives, hope that you will understand again and be inspired to do the right thing, particularly now at tax time, and take advantage of that this opportunity to get a little write-off on your taxes by helping Free Speech TV. So it's a twofer. You keep progressive television, Free Speech TV on the air, and you get the tax benefit as well. But again, no government money, no corporate money. Here at Free Speech TV, we depend on you. Thanks so much for your help.
In 1920s America, the Great Depression effectively erased consumer demand. Struggling manufacturers needed new ways to get people buying again. Innovative production processes like stamping and use of molds allowed them to use new materials for their designs. Products using vinyl, chrome, aluminium and plywood began appearing. American industrial designers began introducing streamlined, efficient shapes that shouted progress. Bel Geddes pioneered what we now refer to as utilitarian art. Things that had little reason to look sleek now all of a sudden did. At the 1939 World Fair featuring Bel Geddes' immensely popular Futurama exhibit, a new era of American industrial design proudly claimed to be building the world of tomorrow. Americans found great positivity in these futuristic forms. Yay. Things were looking up. American industrial designers realised that by making objects look great, people simply wanted them more. From cars to kitchen appliances, the most influential society on earth was spending money again. Mass consumption had arrived. Advertisers finally had lots to talk about. Personal taste could be expressed through the things you bought. Style became equally as important as function. Chair designers like Eames and Saarinen didn't just design seating, they created desirable lifestyles. People behind the products suddenly were stars. Everyone wanted to know who they were. Raymond Loewy was one of the shining lights of American industrial design. His face ended up on every coffee table in the nation. Toothpaste packaging promised whiter teeth. Washing powder packaging promised whiter whites. Who knew such simple household objects would shape the tastes and ambitions of an entire society? American industrial design improved America, functionally, culturally and intellectually, and exported it around the globe.
Broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
Good morning, happy Monday. It is The Bill Press Show, March 24th, 2014. I am not Bill Press. My name is Peter Ogburn. I'm here with you for the next 3 hours. Bill is on vacation. I'm not going to tell you where he went, but it rhymes with Hawaii, which is kind of nuts. I mean, if I could just park it here for just a second. Saturday, beautiful here in Washington, D.C. Glorious, like 70 degrees. I went outside, threw the baseball around with the kids, threw the football around a little bit. I was wearing a short sleeve shirt. Today, high of 40. Maybe. So cold outside. That's so stupid. I'm sure it's nicer in Hawaii. So, Bill, if you're watching, aloha, USOB. I hope you're having a good time. We are tweeting during the show at Peter Ogburn and at BP Show. You definitely want to be following at BP Show. Bill tweets all throughout the day and all throughout the show. We help him tweet and live from the White House when he is there. We are on YouTube and on Free Speech TV. If you have DirecTV or Dish Network, you can watch us on Free Speech TV. I highly suggest you do that. But if you don't, that's okay. We're also on YouTube. Just go to youtube.com/TawkrTV, TAWKR-TV. We are here for you at 866-55-PRESS, 866-557-7377. Okay, all right, fine. Running the board today is Elisa Murphy. Elisa,
good morning.
Good morning. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
If you call 866-55-PRESS, the voice on the other end of the line will be Alicia Cruz, standing by to take your calls. If you're watching us on the video stream, you are doing that because of our videographer, Cyprian Bolding, who is here. And Cyprian has been sort of the commissioner of the Office Bracket Pool Challenge with the NCAA stuff. Now, I have to say, I know I'm not trying to be holier than thou, but I didn't do a bracket this year because I wanted to watch the craziness. I like the craziness, and I don't want to feel like I'm invested in my bracket and see how things are doing. So I had my 6-year-old do it. He's doing okay. Guess who's number one? Any guesses?
Are they here?
No.
Oh.
Bill is leading the pack. Bill, who watches less sports than anybody on the staff.
Unbelievable.
He's leading. Followed closely by you, Elisa Murphy.
I can't believe it because one of my Final Four is actually Syracuse, and they're out.
See, here's the thing. As we go farther along with this, you're gonna start to fall back a little bit. But right now, where we stand, you're okay.
I'll enjoy it while I can.
Yeah, exactly. It won't last. Magnus, 6-year-old Magnus Ogburn is in third place, so he's middle of the pack.
Ooh.
Followed by Cyprian, and I'm sorry, Alicia Cruz, I hate to tell you, you are the absolute bottom.
Oh no!
Why so bad? What were do you even know? Do you even know where you went wrong on it?
I based my picks on all the Latin names.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
No, you didn't.
Villanova.
Did you? Is that like Villanova?
Yeah.
Gonzaga is kind of Latin, right?
Exactly.
So you
But they
picked
lost.
Gonzaga and they lost?
Yeah.
That I have to tell you, in terms of methodology, that ain't bad. That ain't bad. I'm looking now to see what else is on here. Villanova.
San Diego.
Santiago. Tejas. I like that. I mean, look, everybody's got a crazy method. Might as well pick one. That's not bad. All kinds of upsets, right? Like Duke lost
I
since we
know.
last spoke. Who else lost? Kansas lost, right? UNC is out. I'll say this about Magnus's bracket. All of his Final Four are still intact. So, I don't care. I hope some absolute just insane. Tennessee, I mean, they were playing game.
Mm-hmm.
And they're in the Sweet 16 now?
I know. Virginia, too.
Virginia's a strong team, though.
Yeah.
They're a strong team.
But for Magnus, that's good.
I expect, Magnus has Virginia in the Final Four.
Mm-hmm.
Wichita State went down last night.
Wow, I didn't hear that.
By the way, you want to talk about intolerable. Travis Waldron from Think Progress is coming in later on today.
Oh.
Big Kentucky fan.
Uh-oh.
Big Kentucky fan. So he's going to come in all jumped up because Kentucky's doing well so far. and not just Kentucky, the SEC, which is not considered a basketball powerhouse, they're doing pretty damn well. Just saying. We're going to talk some more about bracket stuff later on in the show. If you didn't do a bracket, good for you. I hope you're enjoying all the craziness and all the goofy bracket busting and all that. I think it's fun. I'm having a much better time this year than I usually do. So I wanted to start off the show with something a little different. But look, I think you know by now that when I fill in for Bill, it's certainly a different kind of show. I don't want to talk about the plane crash. I don't want to talk about Obamacare, the 4-year anniversary of Obamacare. We have plenty of time for that later on in the show. But I want to talk about this brand new story that's sort of making waves that was written for The Atlantic by Hannah Rosen. And it's called The Overprotected Kid. A preoccupation with safety has stripped childhood of independence, risk-taking, and discovery without making it safer. A new kind of playground points to a better solution. So the idea here is that we've become a society of helicopter parents, just hovering around our kids, and overprotective nannies, that we don't actually let our children become children. We don't let our kids run around and play and get dirty and run the risk of possibly falling down and hurting themselves, because we would rather protect them from hurting themselves ever than have them actually get the experience of falling down and learning something. Which, look, I'm a parent. I've been a parent for a little over 9 years now. The thought of one of my kids hurting themselves hurts me. It's not something that I am okay with. However, I am a big fan. I'm a big proponent of let the kids sort of get out there, mix it up, take on a little bit of responsibility for themselves and their actions, and they'll learn from it. They'll learn from it. Maybe that's a little old school, I know. But here's a staggering thing. One of the things I saw here in the piece showed that in 1971, 80% of third graders walked to or from school by themselves. 80% of third graders. Now, I have a third grader. He walks home by himself. Not only that, he gets out of school, he goes over to the kindergarten area, he signs his brother out, and then they walk home together. In 1971, 80% of third graders walked to school or from school alone, and by 1990, that measure had dropped to 9%, and now it's even lower. I mean, that was 14 years ago. It's even lower than that. So let's say that it's cut in half. Let's say it's 5%. So you went from 80% to 9% in less than 20 years. And my question to you at 866-55-PRESS, 866-557-7377, especially if you're a parent listening, how do you feel about the way that children are being raised today? And I'm not trying to sit here and be old man be hating on how you're raising your kids. You raise your kids however you want. But I will say that an issue we talk about often on the show here are these millennials that have been raised and have been sort of insulated from criticism and insulated from failure. So then they think everything they do is just golden. Everything they do is wonderful, which is garbage. You need a couple of good failures in your life. You need to fall down, hurt yourself, pick yourself back up. This was an issue for my wife and I when we were younger parents. And we found a healthy balance of my, yes, go outside and throw rocks at each other until you figure I didn't ever advocate that. Just to be clear, it was a joke. I'm like, sure, go outside and play. Go outside and play. My wife was sort of of mine, like, well, today, you never know. You can't be too careful. Should we let them play outside by themselves? Yes, let them play outside by themselves. What are you going to do? You're going to worry about every little thing that happens? You're going to worry about everything that could possibly happen to your kids? Let them play outside. I mean, obviously, put them in a safe area. Don't let them go play out in the street. But I do think that we have a generation of kids who have been way too overprotected. And when you overprotect them, they never really get the chance to develop the skills that they need as adults to problem solve. Quoting from this piece in The Atlantic, Hannah Rosen. Quote, kids once took special pride in knowing how to get to places alone and in finding shortcuts adults normally wouldn't use, end quote. And now you've got these kids that are, Mommy, how do I do this? Mommy, how do I do that? You got 15-year-old kids that can't get anywhere without their iPhone because they never were allowed to explore. Develop these skills that you need when you're a kid. 866-55-PRESS is our telephone number. I would love to hear what you have to say and your stories about being a parent. Are we overprotecting our kids too much? Should we let them go outside and play? Mix it up a little bit, get a little trouble. While you may run the risk of having an accident, there's a lot to be learned there. The overprotected child is what we're talking about. 866-55-PRESS, 866-557-7377. Want to hear what you have to say about this. It's the Bill Press Show. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill. Going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
This is the Bill Press Show.
All right, friends and neighbors, we'll get back to the news of the day in just a moment here. But first, I got a couple of questions for you. First one, are you enjoying Free Speech TV? Well, I know the answer to that one. If you weren't, you wouldn't keep watching. We appreciate that. Good to have you with us. And the second question is, since you enjoy Free Speech TV so much, Have you done your share to keep us on the air? Have you made your pledge? If so, we thank you because so many of you have. But if not, let's get on it. Do it today. It is so important. Look, again, I don't have to tell you how special Free Speech TV is. I'm very, very proud to be part of it. Less than a year right now. But it's the only place you can find such great hosts, Tom Hartman, Stephanie Miller, Amy Goodman. I hope I'm one of them. And it's all content-free, no commercials, the only truly independent and progressive cable channel that is out there. You won't find it anywhere else. But the thing is, we depend on you. That's the only way we can stay on the air. We get no corporate money, no government money, no sponsor money, right? It is all from our viewers that keep us going. So we ask you to give us a call today, 877-378-8669, or you can go to freespeech.org and make your pledge. And as a little reward for making your pledge, if you can do us this $10 a month, $120, we'll send you a Bill Press Show mug. You can have your coffee with us every day, and a pound of coffee from Washington's favorite little coffee shop, which is right downstairs in our building. It's called Peregrine Coffee. If you can afford $20 a month, $240 pledge, you will get a very, very special treat from one of my favorite little businesses out in West Marin, California, West Marin County, from Cowgirl Creamery, a selection of their best cheeses. I think they're the best cheeses on the planet, and I've lived in Switzerland, so I know. Cowgirl Creamery for $240. For $360 or $30 a month, we'll send you the Cowgirl Creamery and a mug. And here's something very, very special. If you can do it and you can afford $1,000 for Free Speech TV, then make your way to Washington as a little special treat. I'll take you out to dinner with Carol, and we'll invite you and a guest in to watch the show the next morning here in our studio in downtown Washington, D.C. So those are just our ways of saying thank you ahead of time to you. Please do it. Please consider it today. And again, the number to call is 877-378-8669, or you can go to freespeech.org. We love bringing the show to you every morning, love being with you every day, and ask you to be with us by making your pledge as soon as you can and as generously as you can. Thank you so much.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
On your radio, on TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill Press today. 866-557-7377 is our telephone number. 866-55-PRESS. Give us a call. We've got a line open for you. We're talking about overprotected children. Whether or not we are being too overprotective of our children. A great new piece. I've been reading a little bit from The Atlantic by Hannah Rosen. I did find that number staggering about the number of third graders. Used to be like 80% of third graders that used to walk home from school alone, and now it's below 9%. I mean, that's a huge drop. And you know, it goes just beyond the overprotection of our kids out in public, right? I mean, I think you should take every measure to make sure that your children stay safe from harm in terms of, you know, being picked up or being put in a position where, a car is going to hit them. But there are just some things that kids need to learn, and you're only going to learn by getting out there and mixing it up. Climbing a tree is dangerous. Climbing a tree, you might fall, you might break your arm. That would suck. But you learned something. Right? And you've got this whole generation now of people who never were able to climb trees, and their parents told them everything they did was wonderful. And they're all spoiled little brats. Got a couple of comments on Twitter, at BP Show. DW1776. I agree with the premise of the article. I felt for years that the babying of children is causing generations of adult adolescents. Nailed it. We baby these kids. Hey, go outside and play. Go outside, find some trouble to get into. Good kind of trouble. I mean, don't go, mischief. Okay? What do I need to clarify that? Go find some mischief to get into. Jessica Ramsarin on Twitter says, my husband is a pillow parent. He's super soft. She says. I never heard that. I like that.
I like that alliteration.
My husband is a pillow parent. I'll be the first to tell my daughter she can't carry a tune in a bucket. You know what? Good for you. Good for you. What are you going to do? You're going to tell your kid she's a great singer. She's going to get to like middle school or high school. She can tell all of her friends, I'm a wonderful singer. And then she sings, and they're going to make fun of her. And she's going to be deluded into thinking that she's a wonderful singer.
And she'll keep trying out for those plays.
That's what I'm saying. Find what you're good at and nurture that. Like, nurture what your kids are good at. Don't tell them they're good at everything. You're not good at everything. James in Buffalo, New York. James, thanks for calling.
Hey, Peter. Kids nowadays are coddled way too much. They gotta get in trouble once in a while to learn that, man, this kind of stinks. I don't want to be on this side of, on this side of right and wrong. And if the parents always catch them, and the parents always, stop them from, getting into that kind of trouble, well, they're not going to learn. They're going to be out of school, and all of a sudden, they get slapped in the face by the real world at 18, 19, 20 years old, and they run back to mom's house if they never left it.
That's right. That's absolutely right, James. I know a guy who still hangs out with his parents, and his parents will tell him everything he did was wonderful. And now he's a grown man. A guy can't. You can't take criticisms. Everything's got to be like a personal attack, right? That's my point in this. Get out there, mix it up a little bit, find out that you're not good at everything, and then you become a normal, functioning human adult. What an idea. 866-55-PRESS is our phone number. Love to hear from you. Peter Ogren in for Bill Press. We'll be right back.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Hey, friends, we'll be back to the news and your commentary and your comments in just a moment. But first, let me just be very, very straight with you. We need your help. You know what Free Speech TV is all about? We're very, very lucky and very proud to be part of it. But it's the only place that you can find completely independent, unfettered, no restrictions, news and commentary from the left all day long, with no corporate money, no commercials, no government money. But without all of that, we depend on you. And we ask for your help and need your help this time of the year. By the way, it's a good time to make a contribution because you can take it off on your taxes. Don't forget that. We know you love free speech. If you didn't, you wouldn't be watching. But again, we can only stay on the air. The only source of funding we have is your help. So many of you have helped already. We thank you for that. And for those of you who haven't yet, you intend to do so, you just didn't get around to it, do it today. Call that number, 877-378-8669, 877-378-8669, or go to freespeech.org, freespeech.org, and make whatever pledge you can. Now, I hope you do it out of the goodness of your heart, but maybe just as a little extra incentive, we'll offer you a couple of special premiums. If you can pledge just $10 a month, $120 a year, we'll give you a Bill Press Show mug and a pound of coffee from our favorite coffee shop, Peregrine, right down on the street level in this building. For $20 a month, $240 a year, very, very special. The best cheese in the world, take it from me, made out in Point Reyes Station, California, from Cowgirl Creamery. They're wonderful, wonderful people. Send you a Cowgirl Creamery a special item. And for $360 a year or $30 a month, you'll get the mug and the Cowgirl Creamery. Now, here's something very, very special. Those of you who can, make a very special pledge of $1,000 to Free Speech TV. You get your way to Washington. We've got a deal for you. Carol and I will take you and a guest out to dinner and then invite you here into the studio the next morning to watch the show with all of us. So whatever pushes your button, please be as generous as you can. And again, do it today at that number, 877-378-8669. Take advantage of that tax opportunity to get your tax contribution. And most importantly, to show your support and show your help for Free Speech TV. We are there with you and for you every single day of the week. We need you to be there for us this one special time of the year. Thanks for your help.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
Seen on Free Speech TV and online on TawkrTV. This is the Bill Press Show.
Yes, it is the Bill Press Show. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill today. Streaming live video on Free Speech TV if you have DirecTV or Dish Network. And streaming live video on YouTube at youtube.com/TawkrTV. I dropped a button, by the way. A little too high and tight earlier. I undid a button. Go a little deeper on the, shirt there. Hey, ladies.
Nice and relaxed.
Hey, ladies. Happy Monday. Tune on in if you want a little bit of this, okay? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Constricting. We're talking about the overprotected kid. It's the name of the article in The Atlantic, theatlantic.com, written by Hannah Rosen. And the whole point of the article is we, as a society, might be a little too overprotective of our children. We don't let them walk from A to B. We don't let them go outside and play with things that may be slightly dangerous. Like everything's got to be Nerf covered, for the kids. We don't let them solve these problems on their own. We solve it for them because we're too scared to see how they would solve it on their own. And my point is that we should let our kids get out there and mix it up, cut it up a little bit, get in a little bit of mischief. You don't have to tell your kids that they're great at everything. There's a great saying, They go something like, when everybody is great, then no one is. In other words, if you tell everybody that you're a wonderful singer, or everybody gets the same award for the soccer league that your kids are in, then what's the lesson there? You suck at soccer, but you get the same thing that this great soccer player gets. That's fine if you suck at soccer. You might be great at math, or the guitar, or art, whatever. But find what you're good at and nurture it. There's no point in telling kids they're great at everything. So a little too overprotective, if you ask me. Taking your calls on this at 866-55-PRESS. Looks like we have a line open for you right now at 866-557-7377. Also taking your comments on Twitter at BP Show and at Peter Ogburn. Bend Time says, absolutely overconfident. Many kids have no work ethic at all. Tutors write the papers, and kids are certain that they are geniuses. That's right. That's right. That is absolutely right. Amy says, Amy262 says, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, Amy262. I left my 17-year-old for 5 days last week. He also had to get my car fixed while I was gone. Guess what? He lived. Now, Amy, I don't want to burst your bubble. He probably misbehaved a little bit while you were gone. And that's okay. I would imagine, like, when I was 17, my parents would leave me alone while they went on trips. And guess what? I never behaved, but I learned some valuable problem-solving skills. Like what to do with 3 garbage bags full of beer bottles. 866-55-PRESS is our telephone number. Marcia in Dwight, North Dakota. Hey, Marcia.
Hi.
Thank you for calling, my dear.
Sure thing. I just wanted to comment that it's kind of tough being a parent that when you let your kid do what they need to do to learn lessons. Because I am the parent of 4, the grandparent of 8. They lived, thank God. But, I mean, they would come home and tell me about the bridges they would jump off and races that they would be in at 120 miles an hour and just cringing stuff.
That stuff is all very dangerous.
But they lived.
And not everybody is. And I'm not saying, look, drag racing at 120 miles per hour, never a really great idea, okay? However, it's going to happen. And I'm not saying you should encourage your kids to go do it, but you know, if you're the type of parent that watches them constantly, then you're gonna have a really tough time. Jumping off of bridges, been there, done that. The only time I ever cut school and jumped off of a bridge into one of the rivers that we had in South Carolina. It was phenomenal. It was great. James in Spring City, Tennessee. James, thanks for calling 866-55-PRESS.
Yeah, I get right to the point.
Okay.
Back in the 90s, general information given by most of national television and local television was that there was overcrowding in our prison systems and there just wasn't finances there to keep all the inmates in. And if you remember, there was a general release of the lower threat population of the prisons. And in reflection of that, there were pedophiles released. Is a topic that I could relate to because 2 were discovered unregistered in the township that I live in. They actually made the local news. I mean, it's something that all parents kind of have to deal with.
All right, James, thanks so much for the call. I appreciate it. 866-55-PRESS, 866-557-7377. Would love to hear your comment on the overprotected child, whether or not we are coddling our children too much and turning them into a generation of kids who can't take criticism, who don't know how to problem solve, who don't know how to get things done on their own. Seriously, I mean, you see these kids, they've had anything done for them for so long. They just sit around, they stare at their phone constantly. How do I get from point A to point B? Oh, hang on, let me throw a goog on that real quick. And then they just sit there. Everything's got to be done for them. Get out and explore a little bit, man. Dave in Chicago, Illinois. Dave, thanks for calling. Number, by the way, is 866-55-PRESS. Still time to talk to you. Take your calls. Dave.
Morning, Peter.
How you doing, buddy?
Oh, man. This is, you're hitting on one of my hot buttons.
Nice. Let's do it.
First of all, I'm a college professor.
This is going to be exciting then, because you have
students.
How long have you been a college professor, Dave?
Let's see, 10 years now.
Okay, cool.
So I got students who don't know what it means to get an F.
Yeah.
And have never seen that. But that's really not the reason I called. But I have a daughter who's in dance.
Okay.
And it's ridiculous how they have inflated the scoring, how they have inflated how everything is done. Instead of it being bronze, silver, gold, and gold being the highest, if you are the worst dancer in the group, you get a gold. And then you go platinum, and then you go high platinum.
Right.
And if you're the best dancer, you're diamond.
Right.
And, horse hockey.
I agree, Dave.
Someone has to fail.
Yeah. You can't be great at everything. Look, I suck at math. I sucked at math all through school. I got several Fs on papers in math and tests in math. Happened a lot. However, I did fine in the other subjects, and I would just have to crash and do just well enough in math to get by. Okay?
And I know exactly what you mean. It was the same thing for me.
Yeah.
I look at some people will say, well, yeah, that explains how you are. But, when we used to drink out of the garden hose, I don't remember wearing shoes growing up when I was outside. Nowadays, I look at my grandkids. My daughter is, oh, no, you got to have shoes on, got to wash your hands.
Yeah.
Can't play in that. Don't do this. And it's like horse crap.
I appreciate the self-edit. Dave, you're my kind of caller, man. Call back anytime. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care, Pete.
Thanks, buddy. Shout out to Chicago there. Dave in Chicago. I love it. By the way, I'm on Twitter at Peter Ogburn. Good morning to Clarissa Smith, who tweeted at me. She says, I don't know how to take this. You have the mean voice of a right-wing host, but you are kind-hearted.
Aww.
Able to talk down John Boehner. Please teach it to Democrats. Look, nothing but sugar right here, honey. Sugar pie Ogburn right here all morning long. You know what I'm talking about? 43 minutes past the hour. We're going to take a quick break. Thank you so much for all the calls and comments on the overprotected child. If you have one final comment on that, feel free to give us a call at 866-55-PRESS. We will try and sneak that in. Otherwise, find us on Twitter at BP Show or at Peter Ogburn. We will get those on the air just as soon as we can. I appreciate everybody for chiming in. Quick break, and we will come back with the National Journal Hotline, Scott Bland on The Bill Press Show.
This is The Bill Press Show.
Hey, friends, just a little break here and time out to tell you about something very, very important. It's that time again when we turn to you and ask for your help because we wouldn't be here without you. It's so funny. Everywhere I go, people always say, man, you got 3 hours to fill every morning. How do you do it? How do you keep up with all of it? Well, let me tell you, we work hard at it. I mean, we start at the end of every show. The first thing we do, we just sit right down and start planning the next day's show and get a rough outline kind of where we want to go and what guests we might want to have and what we think the big issues are going to be. And then we go out and all day long, we're watching the news, reading the news, looking at the websites, following everything. I'm down at the White House every day at the briefings and keeping on top of things down there. And then we, meantime, Peter and Elisa particularly are on the phone, booking our guests for the next day. We reconvene in a conference call at 5 o'clock every afternoon and find out what guests we've got and where we think we're going to go the next day in terms of issues and things we want to talk about. We're also watching that evening, and then the next morning before every show, we reconvene again and sit down and put it finally together. and then we're on the air. So, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, but we love doing it, and we couldn't do it without you. That's the important thing, because Free Speech TV, no corporate money, no government money. It is all viewer contributions. We work only for you and depend on you, and ask you to help us once again as generously as you can. And there's a little incentive to do so. You can go to freespeech.org, make your contribution, freespeech.org. If you can give us $120, that's $10 a month. We will send you a mug, a Bill Press mug, and a pound of coffee from Peregrine Coffee, our favorite coffee shop downstairs in this building, for $240 or $20 a month. From Cowgirl Creamery, the best cheese in the world, believe me, made in California, close to our home in California. A special package from Cowgirl Creamery. For $360 or $30 a month, you'll get the Cowgirl Creamery selection and a Bill Press mug as well. And a very special treat for those of you able to do so and willing to pledge $1,000 of Free Speech TV. You make your way to Washington anytime with a guest. I will take you and your guest out to dinner, some fabulous restaurant in Washington, and invite you in to watch the show the next morning. So I know you're part of the free speech community, or else you wouldn't be watching this morning. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your help in the past. And now please ask you to dig in again. You know how important it is. I know how much you depend on the independent expression of progressive opinion you only get on Free Speech TV. Now's the time to help again, and thank you.
Connect with The Bill Press Show on Twitter. Follow us at BP Show and tweet using the hashtag WatchingBP. This is The Bill Press Show.
It is The Bill Press Show, 47 minutes past the hour on this Monday, March 24th. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill today. Thank you so much for tuning in. By the way, when I run my own cable news channel, which, let's face it, is just days away, I'm going to put an outlaw. I'm going to ban showing the footage of kids crying after their sports team loses. I'm watching This Morning Joe character this morning, and they're showing these kids just crying their eyes out after Kansas lost.
Oh, no.
I mean, these kids have to go back to school. Talk about the overprotected kid, though. I mean, I'm not trying to protect these kids too much, but I mean, the idea that they're going to be on national television crying their eyes out, and then now you got to have some dude in a suit making fun of them on morning TV. Come on, they're gonna go back to school. The kids are gonna have seen it. You know, it's gonna be a nightmare. Poor kids. Grown-ups, I'm fine with, because if you cry over your sports team losing as a grown-up, then you deserve whatever you have coming.
I think I hear Cyprian crying.
Cyprian cries a lot. Cyprian knows the only way to get me upset is to play the Alabama fight song. 48 minutes past the hour. It's Monday, so we like to check in with our good friends at the Hotline, National Journal's Hotline. We're talking to political correspondent Scott Bland. Scott, good morning. Happy Monday.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. Follow Scott on Twitter at Hotline Scott and online at nationaljournal.com, which is where I went this morning to read Scott's latest, this piece about Americans for Prosperity now going after Democratic governors. So, Scott, what's happening there? What kind of governors are in trouble?
Well, sure. So the first kind of major governor's race of 2014 really kicked off last week because Illinois, which has this really early primary, nominated the Democrats renominated Governor Pat Quinn, and Republicans nominated Bruce Rauner, who's a venture capitalist who's poured a lot of his own money into the race by a surprisingly narrow margin. But the general election got started that very night. Before the Republican primary had even been called for Rauner, Quinn was up on the air with ads criticizing him over his statements on the minimum wage, saying that he didn't want to raise it, once saying that he actually wanted to cut the minimum wage in Illinois. And a few days after that, Americans for Prosperity, which has been getting all this attention for the millions of dollars it's pouring into Senate races, put up an ad going after Quinn on taxation for the so-called progressive tax that is part of his plan to fix up the budget there in Illinois. And it's interesting because, again, it's about $30 million, which is a heck of a lot of money that Americans for Prosperity has put into battleground Senate races this year, and that has gotten a lot of attention in D.C., but people forget that Americans for Prosperity really started out as these state politics and policy-focused organizations, and this is kind of another reminder that despite all of the attention the Senate spending has been getting, they're really going to play a big role in governor's races, just like they have in the past.
One of the things Bill talks about a lot when he's here is about how everyone wants to talk about 2016 and whether or not Hillary's going to run and what that means. But he points out that these midterms are very, very important. There are a lot of sort of game-changer elections on the table this year.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the things I was talking about a few weeks ago, and I think the polling backs it up, and people continue to think this, is that for all the talk that Scott Walker gets as a potential 2016 challenger, he's another governor who remains in probably a tough race in Wisconsin in 2014. It's just, the state is too closely divided for anyone to really look all that safe at this point, and Walker has a lot of support. He has a lot of support among hardcore conservatives in the state, which make up a fair percentage of the vote there. But getting to 50 in Wisconsin is never easy. So.
On that note, by the way, we're talking to Scott Bland from National Journal Hotline. You can follow him on Twitter at Hotline Scott and online at nationaljournal.com. One of the first big pieces to come out of 538, the Reborn 538 by Nate Silver, he predicts that the GOP is going to win the Senate in the midterms. How do you guys feel about that?
What he's saying is along the lines of what's been floating around out there for a while now. I think if the Cook Political Report updated its rankings recently, the idea that the balance of probability has shifted toward Republicans, I think, is not controversial. What I do think is interesting is that despite all these other forecasts that are floating around out there, the Democratic Senate Campaign Committee felt the specific need to respond to Silver. They put out a big memo last night. We've got a write-up on our website, nationaljournal.com, this morning. And it gets to how trusted he is, especially among Democrats. And, part of that is that when Silver has made bad predictions in the past, Democrats use it to fundraise. They email their lists and they say, Nate Silver's latest, and it's so bad that you have to give us money. And so there's this interesting kind of public semi-private dichotomy to how they react to Silver's predictions. But it is interesting that they felt the specific need to respond and critique his model last night because of how widely known and respected he's become over the last few years.
All right, good stuff. We'll certainly be keeping an eye on it. We'll talk to you about that more as we move along. Scott Bland from National Journal Hotline, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it, man.
Thanks for having me.
Have a good Monday. Hotline Scott on Twitter is where you can follow him, and online at nationaljournal.com. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill. Take a quick break. We'll be right back.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Hey friends, lots to talk about today, lots going on, and we'll get right back to the news of the day and our Bill Press show this morning in just a second. But first, I want to take a little time out once again to ask for your help for all of us here at Free Speech TV. I don't have to tell you how much, I've told you before, how much we love being with you first thing in the morning, bring you the news of the day. We love the fact that you're with us, but we wouldn't be here without you, and we really do need your help. That's what makes the difference on Free Speech TV. We don't get any corporate money. We don't get any government funding. All of our, we don't get any commercial funding. All of our money, all of our revenue for Free Speech TV comes from you, our viewers. I know you appreciate Free Speech TV. Otherwise, you wouldn't be watching. You know that you get here totally unfettered, totally independent, just right, straight news of the day with good progressive commentary all day long from me and from Tom Hartman and Stephanie Miller and Amy Goodman, all of our good friends at Free Speech TV. Well, we wouldn't be here without you. It's just as simple as that. You've been very generous in the past. We're very excited that so many of you already, this pledge drive, have stepped up to the plate. We thank you for that, and if you haven't already done so, encourage you to make that big call today to 877-378-8669 and make your pledge. Be as generous as you can to Free Speech TV, just to keep this independent, the one single progressive television network on the air, and that is Free Speech TV. And encourage you to do so. Very, very excited to be able to offer you. If you could just give us $10 a pledge, $10 a month, that's $120 a year. You get a Bill Press Show mug and a pound of coffee from our favorite coffee shop downstairs here in our building. If you can up that to $20 a month and a pledge of $240, which we thank you, you'll love the cheese from Cowgirl Creamery. It comes from a part of Marin County where we live in California. I think it's the best cheese in the entire world. We'll send you a selection of Cowgirl Creamery. And for $360 or $30 a month, you get the Cowgirl Creamery, Cowgirl cheese selection, and the Bill Press mug. That's $30 a month or $360. And then, very, very special, and some of you have signed up for this already, if you can afford to help Free Speech with $1,000 and make your way to Washington, D.C., here's what. We will take you out to dinner at one of our favorite restaurants in Washington and invite you to come here the next morning in studio with us to see the show. That'll be a great deal of fun. Hope you'll take advantage of that. Again, the number to make your pledge is 877-378-8669. We depend on you. Please be as generous as you can. Thank you.
This is the Bill Press Show.
It is the Bill Press Show, 57 minutes past the hour. Very quick segment here. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill Press today. Bill's going to be back next week, but we have a cavalcade of network stars lined up to help you through the week. What I've hosted in the past, I've talked about the past couple weeks, my love of the new Neil deGrasse Tyson show, Cosmos, a space-time odyssey. It's the reboot of the Carl Sagan show. So Neil deGrasse Tyson, America's, I guess now probably most famous science personality. So he does the show, and it's all science-based and based on what, sort of took place in the past. And they don't talk about creationism and give it any kind of credence whatsoever because he's a scientist, and creationism doesn't fit into science. So creationists are all upset, and now they're asking for equal airtime, and they want a show that focuses on creationism to air as a companion to Cosmos. Oh, so now they like the fairness doctrine. Now they like fair and balanced and hearing both sides. Get out of here with that crap. It's a show based on science. Real data, real facts. It's creationist business. I'm going to be watching it tonight. It's a Monday routine now, so I'll be watching it. And I hope there's no mention of creationism.
Break out the smoking jacket.
Exactly.
Is the Bill Press Show.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified, not knowing what to do. They they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Okay, friends and neighbors, we'll be back to the news of the day in just a moment here. But first, I've got one important question to ask all of you. Have you made your pledge yet to Free Speech TV? And if not, why the hell not? Come on, seriously. You know, we depend on you, we need you, and we count on you to keep us going here at Free Speech TV because you're all we've got. We don't get any corporate money, we don't get any government money, so all of us, depend. Tom Hartman and Amy Goodman, all the rest depend. Stephanie Miller depend on you to keep us going on Free Speech TV, so we can continue the good work that we do, looking over the news every day. What's happening in Washington? What's happening around the country? What's happening around the globe? What are the important issues that we ought to talk about? Particularly, what are the progressive issues that we ought to be talking about and working on and fighting for? Figuring out the best guests that we can get in studio or on the phone that particular day to help us understand these issues. And then, of course, opening up the phones and opening up the social media lines so you can get involved in the conversation and express your comments and your opinion on what it all means to you and to your family. That's what we do every day. We can only do it with your help. So we ask you to dig in once again. Help keep us on the air here at Free Speech TV. If you can just do $10 a month, that's $120 a year. We'll send you a BP mug, a Bill Press Show mug, and a pound of coffee from our favorite coffee shop just downstairs in this building, Peregrine Coffee. For $20 a month, $240, you will get a very, very special gift indeed. One of the great cheeses from Cowgirl Creamery out on the West Coast, right near where we live in California, Point Reyes Station. And for $30 a month or $360 a year, if you can make that pledge, you'll get the mug and the Cowgirl Creamery. And then as a very, very special item to show you how much we appreciate your support, if you're in a position to pledge $1,000 to Free Speech TV, get yourself to Washington with a friend. Take the plane, take the train, take the bus, drive here, whatever. Carol and I will take you out to dinner the night before, and the next morning we'll invite you to join us in studio to meet the whole team here and to watch a special edition of the Bill Press Show. So with those incentives, hope that you will understand again and be inspired to do the right thing, particularly now at tax time, and take advantage of that this opportunity to get a little write-off on your taxes by helping Free Speech TV. So it's a twofer. You keep progressive television, Free Speech TV on the air, and you get the tax benefit as well. But again, no government money, no corporate money. Here at Free Speech TV, we depend on you. Thanks so much for your help.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
At Earth Justice, we defend the environment in the courtroom. Join our fight. When you take a seat, you take a stand. Earth Justice, because the Earth needs a good lawyer.
Broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
Yes, indeed, it is The Bill Press Show. Howdy. Welcome to a Monday, March 24th, 2014. My name is Peter Ogburn. I'm sitting in for Bill Press today while he takes some much-needed vacation time with the whole family. We have brought in several of our favorite people to help host the show this week. But until then, you're stuck with me. Today and tomorrow. Later on this week, we have Evan McMorris Santoro from BuzzFeed. We have our good friend Clinton Yates coming in. And Sabrina Siddiqui is going to be hosting the show on Friday. First time for her.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah. Sabriki coming in. I'm excited for that. Anyway, until then, you're stuck with me. Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill Press, tweeting at Peter Ogburn, also tweeting at BP Show. Make sure you follow along there. Remember, our telephone number is 866-55-PRESS, 866-557-7377. We are on your favorite progressive radio station. We are on the TuneIn app if you use the Progressive Voices channel. We are also seen nationwide on DirecTV or Dish Network on Free Speech TV. Find it. Watch us every morning. And if you don't have DirecTV or Dish Network and you want to watch us on the internet, you could do so at youtube.com/TawkrTV, TawkrTV, TawkrTV, youtube.com/TawkrTV. All right. Well, Monday, I'm here. Elisa Murphy is here.
Good morning.
Running the board. How you doing over there, Elisa?
Pretty good.
You guys look like you're in panic mode. Our guest isn't on the line, I imagine.
We're hoping we get in touch with Simon, but we're still waiting.
Is he
for that.
still? He's in Malaysia, am I right?
Yeah, he is.
All right. We're trying to hunt down our guest, who we're supposed to have on here in a couple minutes. We may or may not have him to get the latest on the Malaysian Air flight. Alicia Cruz working to try and get that taken care of, and on the video side of things, our videographer Cyprian Bolding keeps us on the air. On the subject, by the way, of that missing plane, I got to tell you, boy, we talked about this with Dylan Byers on Friday. CNN has just gone. I mean, they have gone whole hog into this coverage. I've been watching all morning long, right? We got our problems with Morning Joe. But they've talked about some bracket stuff. They're talking about Russia. They're talking about Jimmy Carter having a problem with the NSA. They're talking about all kinds of stuff. CNN? No. It's just nonstop CNN, nonstop on the flight. Non-stop. They had someone last week ask about black holes. So maybe this thing went to a black hole. And they had an expert on, quote-unquote expert, No, if this was a black hole situation, it would have sucked up everything else around it. Black holes. So then, over the weekend, CNN runs a story about a zombie plane. They called the missing plane a zombie plane. Here's what CNN had to say. I'm pulling from the examiner.com, which sort of recapped their theory. Quote, this zombie theory was advanced most notably by aviation specialist Clive Irving of the Daily Beast. Using this term to describe the missing passengers has crossed the line, and other experts are now speaking up on how much they dislike this term. Zombie plane, they're calling it. It's so silly. This sensationalizing of a story that's already a fascinating story, but does it really need this much coverage and this much sensationalizing? There's a guy, a producer for CNN, a guy by the name of Vaughn Sterling, right? So he's out there. He seems to be the lone wolf out there trying to fight the fight of CNN, trying to say that, like, you know, they're doing a real service. So he gets in this little online skirmish with our friend Ben White from Politico, because Ben White said, continue to be baffled, not by TV slavishly and somewhat logically milking the airline crash, but the people that keep watching. So this producer for CNN says, if this were an American flight, every network would be wall-to-wall, and there'd be far less whining about the reporting. To which Ben says, well, it isn't an American flight, and it's not whining when the reporting is not reporting, but instead idiotic speculation based on nothing, which is what's happening. Which is what's happening. There's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of wild guessing carrying on. But, of course, CNN has blockbuster ratings through all of this. Which I don't know if that says more about us or more about them. You know, are we just buying whatever they give us because we're just so trained to take that? Or are they feeding that to us because that's all we want? Shame on us, frankly. I mean, I think there's plenty to talk about with this plane. I think there's some new information. Look, Australia and China have both reported seeing some debris. Nothing's been recovered yet. So it looks like we have some good leads, and those are worth talking about. However, this wall-to-wall business that CNN has got going on, it's driving me crazy. 866-55-PRESS is our phone number, 866-557-7377. If you'd rather spell it than use numbers, it's 866-55-PRESS. Give us a call and let us know if you think the coverage that CNN has been pushing on this missing plane is warranted, worthwhile. Is it something that they're providing a service to us? Or do you think it's too much? Do you think it's overboard? I think it's overboard. You know, when you put breaking news on every little thing that you report, you sort of diminish the idea that there's actually breaking news. Now, you can't just say, breaking news, we don't have much. Which is kind of what's happening. It's driving me crazy. And this morning, they got this Kate Baldwin, and she's out there. Kate Baldwin joins the rescue efforts. It's the chyron they got up on CNN. What is she going to do? All of a sudden, she's an expert on recovering plane crashes out of the middle of nowhere? She joins the rescue effort. Yeah. Way to become part of the story, CNN. 866-55-PRESS is our telephone number. I got to take a break. We're going to try and get our guest on the line. If he doesn't show up, whatever. We'll talk about something else. But if you want to talk about this, give us a call. 866-55-PRESS, 866-557-7377. CNN and their airplane coverage, are they going too far? Look, we here at the Bill Press Show pride ourselves on giving occasional updates on the plane, but what are we going to do? We're going to go wall-to-wall on this? There's nothing to talk about. I think CNN's gone overboard. 866-557-7377. My name is Peter Ogburn. I'm sitting in for Bill. We're going to take a quick break. You know the drill. We'll be right back.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Okay, friends and neighbors, we'll be back to the news of the day in just a moment here. But first, I've got one important question to ask all of you. Have you made your pledge yet to Free Speech TV? And if not, why the hell not? Come on, seriously. You know, we depend on you, we need you, and we count on you to keep us going here at Free Speech TV because you're all we've got. We don't get any corporate money, we don't get any government money, so all of us, depend. Tom Hartman and Amy Goodman, all the rest depend. Stephanie Miller depend on you to keep us going on Free Speech TV, so we can continue the good work that we do, looking over the news every day. What's happening in Washington? What's happening around the country? What's happening around the globe? What are the important issues that we ought to talk about? Particularly, what are the progressive issues that we ought to be talking about and working on and fighting for? Figuring out the best guests that we can get in studio or on the phone that particular day to help us understand these issues. And then, of course, opening up the phones and opening up the social media lines so you can get involved in the conversation and express your comments and your opinion on what it all means to you and to your family. That's what we do every day. We can only do it with your help. So we ask you to dig in once again. Help keep us on the air here at Free Speech TV. If you can just do $10 a month, that's $120 a year. We'll send you a BP mug, a Bill Press Show mug, and a pound of coffee from our favorite coffee shop just downstairs in this building, Peregrine Coffee. For $20 a month, $240, you will get a very, very special gift indeed. One of the great cheeses from Cowgirl Creamery out on the West Coast, right near where we live in California, Point Reyes Station. And for $30 a month or $360 a year, if you can make that pledge, you'll get the mug and the Cowgirl Creamery. And then, as a very, very special item to show you how much we appreciate your support, if you're in a position to pledge $1,000 to Free Speech TV, get yourself to Washington with a friend. Take the plane, take the train, take the bus, drive here, whatever. Carol and I will take you out to dinner the night before, and the next morning we'll invite you to join us in studio to meet the whole team here and to watch a special edition of the Bill Press Show. So with those incentives, hope that you will understand again and be inspired to do the right thing, particularly now at tax time, and take advantage of that this opportunity to get a little write-off on your taxes by helping Free Speech TV. So it's a twofer. You keep progressive television, Free Speech TV on the air, and you get the tax benefit as well. But again, no government money, no corporate money. Here at Free Speech TV, we depend on you. Thanks so much for your help.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
On your radio, on TV, and online. This is the Bill Press Show.
Good morning. Welcome to the Bill Press Show. Monday, March 24th, 2014. Gosh, I'm just so excited that you all joined us here today. on this glorious Monday. I'm struggling. I was up late last night.
You?
I know. On a Sunday of all things. I was up late. So if you follow me on Twitter at Peter Ogburn, you know that I not only do this show, which is my first love, but I also I do some food writing on the side. I work for NPR and a website called American Food Roots. And so last night I was at this event called Koshan 555. And what they do is they take 5 local chefs and they give each of them a heritage pig. And they say, make 5 dishes based on this pig, and see what you can create. So now, and not to mention, they also give out a ton of wine and whiskey and all the bourbon and stuff like that. So I brought my wife / designated driver. That's the great thing about being married, kids. If you think about getting married, let me just tell you, marry someone who doesn't drink. You always have a DD. It's like the greatest thing ever.
Oh my goodness!
But it was great. It was a lot of fun. I put some pictures out there on Twitter, so if you want to check that out, you can follow me on Twitter at Peter Ogburn. But right now, we are talking about CNN. Breaking news. CNN, I swear to God, right now. Breaking news. One source says that Flight 370 descended to 12,000 feet. How is that news? We know that already. That's not news. Breaking news. Now, this is why people have a problem with cable news. That's on there right now. A big breaking news banner. Breaking news. One source says Flight 370, the missing flight, descended to 12,000 feet. How is that breaking news? That drives me crazy. Oh, and CNN goes, we're not the only ones who do it. Yeah, you're right. You're not the only ones who do the whole breaking news song and dance. Okay? A lot of people do it. And shame on them for doing it too. You just happen to be the ones doing it so egregiously right now. 866-55-PRESS. 866-557-7377 is CNN's airplane coverage going a little too far. And I'm a little cynical, and I've been doing this for long enough to where it doesn't, I admit that sometimes I forget that we're talking about real people here. Poor little Neil on Twitter, it's the handle, poor little Neil, says we just need to think about the poor families in this case. It's beyond awful for them. I couldn't agree more. You see these families out there.
I know, it's heart-wrenching.
And they're terrified, and they're screaming, angry, sad. And here you've got CNN saying things like, what if it's a zombie plane? Or, what if it was a black hole? Or what if it was a supernatural being? Or if their souls were taken straight to heaven? These are all real things, by the way. I'm not just making that up. These are things that CNN actually talked about. A black hole. Taking an airplane. 866-55-PRESS is our phone number. 866-557-7377. Looks like we have a line open for you. Just like we do for Diane. Shout out to Dog Patch, Missouri. Diane, really? Dog Patch?
No, actually, that is the name I use because
I was going to say, I didn't think there was an actual dog patch.
No, it's just that this is the Missouri Ozarks, and this is a tiny little town, and I'm afraid somebody's going to sit on the remote and accidentally find me talking to you.
I'm in. I endorse the use of dog patch in this particular situation, Diane.
I use it online too.
Well played. What's up? What's your take on this?
I think they're way, way, way overdoing it. I tried to. They had some, listed on DirecTV that they had some nice looking documentaries on Saturday night, and of course when I hit it, I just got more gibberish from CNN.
Oh, I understand what you're saying. Yeah,
I wouldn't mind so much, except MSNBC spends its weekend evenings in prison.
Yeah, what is it? Lockup.
Yeah, or
I love that
locked up
show.
somewhere, and it's like, oh please,
Yeah.
I
All
don't
right.
care.
All right, Diane, I appreciate the call. Yeah, no, guilty of watching Lockup, by the way. But I think that you could differentiate between the fact that MSNBC shows some documentary stuff on the weekends or in the weekend evenings compared with how CNN is running their prime time news coverage. Like I said, they just had a breaking news banner up for something that clearly was not breaking news. Drives me crazy. Anyway, 866-55-PRESS is our phone number. A couple of other little stories just sort of scooting around here. We can all, I think, agree that the KKK is a bad organization.
Yes.
I think we can all, show of hands, who thinks the KKK is a bad organization? Everyone? I can't see Cyprian's hand. Pretty sure his hand is up. So the KKK is now arguing that they're a nonviolent group, that they've changed, they've matured. They're a new, fresher, happier, friendlier face of the KKK. And says, quote, "We don't hate people because of their race. I mean, we're a Christian organization." That is the voice, or that is what Frank Ancona, the group's imperial wizard, told a Virginia TV station last week. Quote, "Because of the acts of a few rogue Klansmen, all Klansmen are supposed to be murderers, wanted to lynch black people, and supposed to be terrorists. That's a complete falsehood."
Oh, my goodness.
Bonus points for working in hood into his statement, by the way, on the KKK guy. I think we can all agree that the KKK is not an actual Christian organization. I'm fine with labeling them as whatever, a terrorist or however they put it there. That they don't want to be labeled that anymore. Yeah, sorry. I think you guys missed out on that. Hey, Elisa, can you grab that clip of Jimmy Carter? Because I find this fascinating. Jimmy Carter, in light of all the allegations of the NSA snooping and spying, Jimmy Carter has a solution we hadn't thought of.
As a matter of fact, I have felt that my own communications were probably monitored. And when I want to communicate with a foreign leader privately, I type or write the letter myself, put it in the post office, and mail it, because I believe if I send an email, it will be monitored.
How about that? How about that? How about that? How about the former president of the United States coming out and saying, yeah, I don't want to be spied on. I don't want to be snooped on. So I'm just going to roll out a snail mail letter. Former president of the United States, he's got to go snail mail. He's got to go to the post office. He's got to put a stamp on it. He can't make a phone call or an email. Dude's worried he's going to get snooped on. That's outrageous. That's amazing to me. Jimmy Carter, man, coming up. Big time critic of the NSA. Yeah, he can't send a friggin' email now. He's worried the NSA is going to snoop on him. Maybe he should talk to that Democratic President Barack Obama about that, with the whole over-snooping and over-spying. All right, let's take a break. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill on this Monday, March 24th. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back.
This is the Bill Press Show.
All right, friends and neighbors, we'll get back to the news of the day in just a moment here. But first, I got a couple of questions for you. First one, are you enjoying Free Speech TV? Well, I know the answer to that one. If you weren't, you wouldn't keep watching. We appreciate that. Good to have you with us. And the second question is, since you enjoy Free Speech TV so much, Have you done your share to keep us on the air? Have you made your pledge? If so, we thank you because so many of you have. But if not, let's get on it. Do it today. It is so important. Look, again, I don't have to tell you how special Free Speech TV is. I'm very, very proud to be part of it. Less than a year right now. But it's the only place you can find such great hosts, Tom Hartman, Stephanie Miller, Amy Goodman. I hope I'm one of them. And it's all content-free, no commercials, the only truly independent and progressive cable channel that is out there. You won't find it anywhere else. But the thing is, we depend on you. That's the only way we can stay on the air. We get no corporate money, no government money, no sponsor money, right? It is all from our viewers that keep us going. So we ask you to give us a call today, 877-378-8669, or you can go to freespeech.org and make your pledge. And as a little reward for making your pledge, if you can do us this $10 a month, $120, we'll send you a Bill Press Show mug. You can have your coffee with us every day, and a pound of coffee from Washington's favorite little coffee shop, which is right downstairs in our building. It's called Peregrine Coffee. If you can afford $20 a month, $240 pledge, you will get a very, very special treat from one of my favorite little businesses out in West Marin, California, West Marin County, from Cowgirl Creamery, a selection of their best cheeses. I think they're the best cheeses on the planet, and I've lived in Switzerland, so I know. Cowgirl Creamery for $240. For $360 or $30 a month, we'll send you the Cowgirl Creamery and a mug. And here's something very, very special. If you can do it and you can afford $1,000 for Free Speech TV, then make your way to Washington as a little special treat. I'll take you out to dinner with Carol, and we'll invite you and a guest in to watch the show the next morning here in our studio in downtown Washington, D.C. So those are just our ways of saying thank you ahead of time to you. Please do it. Please consider it today. And again, the number to call is 877-378-8669, or you can go to freespeech.org. We love bringing the show to you every morning, love being with you every day, and ask you to be with us by making your pledge as soon as you can and as generously as you can. Thank you so much.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where the ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
On your radio, on TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
It is The Bill Press Show, 33 minutes past the hour. Thank you all so very much for tuning in on this Monday, March 24. My name is Peter Ogburn. I'm sitting in for Bill today. Thank you so very much for tuning in. I do appreciate it. Talking about all kinds of things today. Good grief. What are we not talking about? Am I right? We talked about overprotective parents. Talked about the plane and CNN's coverage of it. So let's talk some politics now, shall we? We're joined by our good friend, digital journalist with Now This News, Ashley Codianni. Ashley, good morning.
Good morning.
We have you on the telephone, not in studio, which is okay. It's all right. I understand. You're very busy.
Thank you.
You can follow her on Twitter at Ashley Codianni. 2 N's on that, Ashley Codianni. Ashley, let's talk some politics here, because when we're looking at the midterms now, Nate Silver has made his first big, bold prediction on the reborn 538, and he says that the GOP will win the Senate in the midterms.
Right.
So how much credit are people putting into that?
Well, I think at first it created a little bit of hysteria, but the DSCC responded this morning with a little memo that, that does call out some of his analysis. Generally, there, as they have cited in others, that there is an over-reliance on polls, and that some of those polls do come from GOP outfits. So, he's sort of pulling from what some say is a scarce supply of public polling. And they also cite that his 2012 predictions were inaccurate on Montana and North Dakota. So the DSCC has responded to sort of tame the beast, if you will, but I'm sure it wasn't received as a happy weekend gift.
It's funny that, number one, that his prediction prompted the DSCC to actually put something out. I mean, the fact that Nate Silver has that kind of clout now.
Right, and apparently there are about, just quickly, that they have cited Nate Silver in, I think it's 12 emails in the last 4 months. So
that's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. And to also call into question his prognosticating skills, I don't know is the best way or the best thing for them to do, considering that in 2012, he correctly predicted all 50 states in the presidential election. And
right.
I know he whiffed on those 2 Senate seats, but he predicted 31 out of 33 U.S. Senate races. Right. So that ain't a bad track record.
It's not a bad track record, and I think this is just, this is something the DSCC had to do. I'm sure, it was a panic, so it seems. So it's something they had to do, although this is time where the secret's out. If anything, the secret's out that the Dems might lose the Senate. Their seats are just highly vulnerable. Even the states that Nate Silver had cited as the most likely to go red were not some of the races that have received the most national attention. Sure, Kentucky wasn't. Georgia, Kentucky, North Carolina weren't in his top list. It was West Virginia, South Dakota, Montana, and Arkansas. So even that is just, it's almost even more evidence that he might be right, because the races that a lot of people were watching to go red, some of them weren't even the states that he cited as the ones most likely to go red. So
yeah. He also, it's worth pointing out that he said that it wouldn't take much for the Democrats to recalibrate in the coming months, which we had.
Right.
We had the Cook Political Report in studio last week, and Jennifer Duffy from the Cook Political Report, and she basically was saying, look, it's close. It's close in a lot of these, so we'll see what happens.
Some of them are so close. And that's why it's almost, and when we say there's an over-reliance on polling and there's not enough access to even some of the public polls, this could also be too soon. But he has a good track record.
Yeah. One of the things that you have been talking about, Ashley Codianni, digital journalist for Now This News. Again, you should follow her on Twitter, at Ashley Codianni, with 2 N's on that, is how these politicians these days are reaching out to get the younger voter, how they are appealing to a word that kind of drives me nuts, the millennials.
Drives me nuts. The word drives me nuts too, don't worry.
Really? Okay, good, because it kind of makes me a little batty. But so we have several instances now of politicians trying to reach out for that millennial vote, right?
Yes, we do. We had Rand Paul last week, and this was actually amazing. And not that I should call it amazing, but he was at UC Berkeley last week, and his tone and temper and the way that he approached the audience, the way that he engaged them, was almost, it was so well done. And he got a standing applause at one of the most liberal universities in the country. And he really did win them over. And I think, obviously, that's part of his potential 2016 strategy to widen his base and feel connected to this younger audience, knowing that he has to win their votes. It was about NSA, security, privacy. He just did, it was good strategy. Hillary Clinton, again, this weekend, she was at the University of Arizona she also did a roundtable discussion with Bill and Chelsea with late night host Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
So again, employing those tactics of comedians, people who have a history of favoritism with younger audiences, sort of, I suppose, taking lessons from Michelle and Barack as they have appealed to people like Jimmy Fallon and Zach Galifianakis. She was this weekend with Jimmy Kimmel.
It's interesting.
So,
it really is fascinating how they're doing this, right? Because it's
right,
certainly
it is.
outlets and avenues that we've never seen a president go to before.
No, and also it's interesting with this healthcare.gov rollout, the way that they've employed a lot of these mechanisms, and there's always this joke that, you know, they're trying to get the hipster vote, and then you had the Republicans who put out last week their ad with, you know, quintessential, some would say, hipster characters. And so it's interesting how much they value this younger vote enough to almost try too hard.
Yeah.
And
let's not forget Pajama Boy.
Like Pajama Boy, exactly. So, you know, they're doing their thing.
Speaking of Pajama Boy, this sort of gets back to the whole Nate Silver thing about the midterms, but over the weekend, we commemorate the 4-year anniversary of the Affordable Care Act.
Right.
How are candidates running with or against the Affordable Care Act these days?
Well, it's interesting. You'll see the Democrats. And this is such a touchy issue for the midterm because you can't tell if they're scared, if the Dems are scared to talk about the Affordable Care Act, or if they're going to run, you know, bullhorns right into what could be a very touchy, flip-floppy moment for them in their midterm election cycle. So I suppose that I think they have to be really careful. I can't stress that enough. I feel like this is the thing that could make them so vulnerable.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you. We'll see what happens, though. We'll keep an eye on it right here on the Bill Press Show. Ashley Codianni, digital journalist for Now This News. Soon to be with Mashable. Is that right, Ashley?
That's correct. Very exciting.
Congratulations. She's moving over to Mashable.com, a phenomenal website, and they're really making a lot of smart moves there, and picking you up is just their latest smart move. So congratulations. We're big fans of yours, and wish you all the best over there at Mashable.
Oh, thank you so much.
All right. Digital journalist, still with Now This News, soon to be with Mashable, our good friend Ashley Codianni. Go follow her on Twitter at Ashley Codianni, 2 N's in Codianni. Thanks, Ashley.
Bye. Have a good day. Thank you.
You too. All right. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill Press. Today, we are going to take a quick break. We'll come right back. Stay tuned.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Hey, friends, we'll be back to the news and your commentary and your comments in just a moment. But first, let me just be very, very straight with you. We need your help. You know what Free Speech TV is all about? We're very, very lucky and very proud to be part of it. But it's the only place that you can find completely independent, unfettered, no restrictions, news and commentary from the left all day long, with no corporate money, no commercials, no government money. But without all of that, you know, we depend on you. And we ask for your help and need your help this time of the year. By the way, it's a good time to make a contribution because you can take it off on your taxes. Don't forget that. You know, we know you love free speech. If you didn't, you wouldn't be watching. But again, we can only stay on the air. The only source of funding we have is your help. So many of you have helped already. We thank you for that. And for those of you who haven't yet, you know, you intend to do so, you just didn't get around to it, do it today. Call that number, 877-378-8669, 877-378-8669, or go to freespeech.org. Freespeech.org. and make whatever pledge you can. Now, I hope you do it out of the goodness of your heart, but maybe just as a little extra incentive, we'll offer you a couple of special premiums. If you can pledge just $10 a month, $120 a year, we'll give you a Bill Press Show mug and a pound of coffee from our favorite coffee shop, Peregrine, right down on the street level in this building. For $20 a month, $240 a year, very, very special. The best cheese in the world, take it from me, made out in Point Reyes Station, California, from Cowgirl Creamery. They're wonderful, wonderful people. Send you a Cowgirl Creamery a special item. And for $360 a year or $30 a month, you'll get the mug and the Cowgirl Creamery. Now, here's something very, very special. Those of you who can, make a very special pledge of $1,000 to Free Speech TV. You get your way to Washington. I've got a deal for you. Carol and I will take you and a guest out to dinner and then invite you here into the studio the next morning to watch the show with all of us. So whatever pushes your button, please be as generous as you can. And again, do it today at that number, 877-378-8669. Take advantage of that tax opportunity to get your tax contribution. And most importantly, to show your support and show your help for Free Speech TV. We are there with you and for you every single day of the week. We need you to be there for us this one special time of the year. Thanks for your help.
On your radio, on TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
Yes, it is The Bill Press Show. My name is Peter Ogburn. I'm sitting in for Bill Press today on this Monday, March 24, 2014. Thank you so much for tuning in. Crazy basketball weekend. Hey, Alicia, grab that Coach K clip from Duke. The opening round, man, I mean, as always is the case, there are a lot of bracket busters, a lot of upsets, all kinds of craziness going on. Here on the Bill Press Show, our office pool, Bill, of course, is leading, the man who watches less sports than anyone I know. Elisa Murphy is in second place.
Woohoo!
I didn't do a bracket, but I let Magnus, my 6-year-old, do the bracket. He is in third, followed by Cyprian and Alicia. How are you doing so well? What are your games? What is your methodology?
Well, I really go by rankings.
And is that all you did?
A little bit, but then
where were you with Duke? Because Duke,
I went for Duke, so
went for Duke.
That's why I thought I'd be doing.
What's the name of Duke's head coach?
Krasnewski.
Yeesh.
Right? Krasnewski. Oh,
Mike
man.
Krzyzewski. That's why they just call him Coach K. They got me. I'm sorry I do that. I'm sorry I had to do that to you. Yeah, they were number 3 seed. They played a number 14 seed, Mercer, and Mercer won.
I can't believe it.
So Coach K, this is him after the game. Play this clip.
I'm disappointed for our team because, I thought it wasn't easy. Like Hood and Parker did not have easy games tonight. And our backcourt, I mean, our guys played their hearts out. And so did those two kids. And, we showed our youth.
Oh, here comes Cyprian. He's got our standings right here with the Bill Press Show. Okay, so Alicia Cruz has basically been ruled out, right? Alicia, I'm sorry. You are essentially done because you had Villanova winning it all. I love Alicia's mentality, by the way, of she picked the ones that had the Latin-sounding names to win. So she picked Villanova. She thought it was Villanova.
Villanova.
I love that. However, it didn't get her very far. She had Villanova winning it all. Bill still has Louisville. Good grief, man. Bill is just smoking everybody.
Same phonetic reasoning there, too.
He had like 60. He's got 64% of his bracket correct. You've got 45%. Magnus is at 17%. But it's all, I mean, the points-wise, it's all very close. I mean, we all still have a shot except for Alicia, I think. I think we all still kind of have a shot. And we all, this is very interesting, we all have different champions.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Bill has Louisville. You have Michigan. I have Florida. And Cyprian has Michigan State.
Oh, that's good.
So someone's going to win. What's the final game points, Cyprian? I mean, is that because, like, if the final game is a ton of points, that could decide the winner, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So, like, if we get down to where it's like the final game and Bill gets it wrong, you know, I mean, that's a total game changer.
Mm-hmm.
That's a total game changer.
Yeah.
Thanks for that, Cyp. Cyprian pulling double duty, man. Getting the standings up for me. It's a hard-working man right there. By the way, I know technically it's still too early to start talking about 2016. But we're journalists, so we care about where the convention is going to be, right? I got to start making plans. Where I'm going to stay, start getting my reservations in for dinner. So the 2016 Democratic National Convention talk is starting to take shape, starting to pick up a little bit. Looks like the leading frontrunner right now is... Any guesses?
Denver?
No, they did it in Denver not that long ago, in 2008. They are talking about anyway. They're talking about Philadelphia.
Oh, it's
Philadelphia.
Nearby.
I'm good. Yeah, seriously, total road trip. I'm good with Philly. Philly's a good town. They can handle a convention. And part of the reason that they mentioned Philadelphia is because the media market does cover some of New Jersey. And if we're talking 2016, we might be talking about Chris Christie.
Oh.
Another possibility is, let's see. There's a whole list of a couple other ones. Columbus, Ohio is a possibility.
Hopefully not.
I mean, I'd go. We'll go no matter what. But I'd rather not be in Columbus. Columbus isn't far from Dayton. Columbus isn't far from Dayton. I told you the other day, the longest 6 years of my life were the 4 months I lived in Dayton, Ohio.
Wait, I thought it was 6 months. 4 months?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it was 6 months I was there. I got it the other way around. Anyway. So Columbus is a possibility. Other possibilities, right? Here we go. Potential competitors. Atlanta.
Oh.
Yes, I would go. Cleveland. Yeah,
Where were you calling him?
Look, Cleveland's worse than Columbus. Shout out to Ohio, but Cleveland is worse than Columbus. Dayton, forget it. If they go to Dayton, I mean, Orlando, God no.
Oh, Orlando, get some sun.
No. I lived in Orlando. There's no sun in Orlando. It just rains all the time. It's rain. It's a swamp there. It's all Disney.
Got the Daytona 500 nearby.
What's your comment?
Yeah. San Antonio is a possibility. Listen to Cyprian. You know I'd go there. That's right. Brooklyn. Hey, it ain't going to happen in Brooklyn.
Oh, Brooklyn. That's odd.
It ain't going to happen in Brooklyn. Pittsburgh and St. Louis are also possible competitors. Not a bad list. I mean, I think Ohio is a smart place. Cleveland probably makes the most sense. Or, excuse me, Columbus probably makes the most sense. Cleveland, Florida, I could see that making sense. I'd just rather not go to Orlando. I do think Philadelphia is probably where it's at. I think if they're already looking and they're talking, Philadelphia would be a good place. Pennsylvania, man. It's important. Anyway, we got like 2 years, so I'm not really worried about it. But as soon as it happens, man, we'll tell you right here on the Bill Press Show. 54 minutes past the hour. We are going to take a quick break. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill. We'll be right back.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Tune into Free Speech TV for Democracy Now!, a national, independent, award-winning news program bringing you people and perspectives rarely seen on corporate media.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
This is the Bill Press Show.
It is the Bill Press Show. Good morning, everybody. 57 minutes past the hour. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill Press today. Bill will be back next week, of course. Until then, we are doing as best as we can in his absence. It's this time of the day that we usually talk about the president's schedule. The president has a very, very, very busy schedule. He's in the Netherlands. He's already toured a museum today. I like he's in the Netherlands. My people. Land of the blonde-haired, pasty faces. I'm good with that. He's all over the place today. He's delivering remarks with the prime minister. He has a bilateral meeting with the president of China. He's going to the Hague today for a nuclear security summit. We'll be talking about all of this tomorrow morning for sure. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. We'll get into that tomorrow and recap the trip and his day, and we'll keep following it all week. It's the Bill Press Show.
This
Peter Ogburn
is
sitting
the
in.
Bill Press Show.
I have run these canyons for 6 million years. I have traveled from the Rocky Mountains
into the deserts, through scorching heat and freezing cold, from the land of the dinosaurs to fields of food.
I lend my hand to 7 states, 2 countries, 9 national parks,
and 36 million people across an arid West.
I am not the strongest or the largest, but I am the hardest working.
People love me.
My playfulness,
My beauty.
my power,
My life. But I don't think I can offer any more.
I am
I am tired,
tapped,
and tied. Of the hundreds of major rivers in the world, I am one of the few who no longer kisses the sea.
Battles to harness my soul have been won and lost. Use me wisely, and I will sustain you.
Use me like you have, and I will break. My name
is
Red. The Grand River Red. The American Nile.
The Canyon Maker. I am the Colorado River.
And I am the most endangered river in America.
For more than 18 months, the members of AFSCME 3299 have been working to secure a new contract with the University of California. With workplace injuries at UC skyrocketing and government fines related to safety deficiencies at UC hospitals skyrocketing, Local 3299's top priority has been safe staffing at the workplace.
We've been short of people like for the last 5 years. They're stretching us thin, which the students are suffering, the faculty suffering, and the patients are suffering.
While UC administrators have granted these standards to other UC workers, they have refused to make similar accommodations for AFSCME represented workers who perform the most physically demanding labor at UC.
It takes a whole team to take care of the patient. It's not just the RN and it's not just the doctor. The nurses were able to win a great contract, and AFSCME workers, the patient care workers and service workers, they're part of the team and they deserve that same fair contract too.
We take pride into working for the university, and we feel like the university doesn't value the work that we do.
But the second-class treatment of AFSCME workers doesn't end at safety and staffing. On wages, benefits, and other issues, UC refuses to offer AFSCME 3299 members the same respect they afford their other workers.
I have 3 jobs because what the university pays me is just not enough to make a living for my family and myself.
99% of service workers in the UC system make so little money that they're eligible for at least some form of public assistance. At the same time, the number of executives in the UC system that have crossed over into making at least $250,000 a year has more than doubled since 2008.
The University of California has long been a beacon of hope and progress for those struggling for dignity and fairness. With such a proud history, it is disturbing to see the leadership of the university treat its lowest paid workers like second-class citizens.
All workers at the university deserve equal treatment.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
Broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
It is The Bill Press Show on this Monday, March 24th, 2014. Good morning. I am not Bill Press. My name is Peter Ogburn. I'm sitting in for Bill today. We continue to tweet all throughout the show on Twitter at BP Show. That's the show handle, at BP Show. I'd advise all of you to go follow there. I'm also tweeting throughout the show at Peter Ogburn, at Peter Ogburn. Follow there or don't. I wouldn't follow me. Running the board today is Elisa Murphy. Good morning, Elisa.
Good morning. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday, madam. And screening your calls at 866-55-PRESS, 866-557-7377. If you call that number, you'll be lucky enough to talk to Alicia Cruz, the first casualty of the Bill Press Show office bracket, by the way. She picked Villanova going all the way. Yeah. Explain why. I love this, by the way. Alicia, can you explain why you picked Villanova? This is the best. Why did you pick Villanova?
Well, I picked all of the Latin names.
Yeah. She picked all the Latin sounding names.
Villanova.
She picked Villanova going all the way. I love. Look, honestly, you've been eliminated. You cannot win. But so your strategy didn't work, but it's as good as any others. And of course, if you are watching us on youtube.com/TawkrTV, youtube.com/TawkrTV, you are doing so because of the good work of Cyprian Bolding, who is in last place in the office bracket pool among active players because Alicia is out. So Cyprian is in the last place. Joining us in studio is Sam Baker, healthcare correspondent for National Journal. You can follow him on Twitter at Sam_Baker and online at nationaljournal.com. Sam, good morning.
Good morning.
In a good mood today. I understand
yes.
I don't know how I screwed this up, but I've booked two Kentucky basketball fans in the same hour. You're a big Kentucky basketball fan.
You didn't screw it up. You did it right.
And now I've got Travis Waldron coming up next half hour. He's a huge Kentucky fan. So now I got to hear this now.
Well,
congratulations.
Just dig in.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
A huge win by Kentucky.
Yes.
That's a big win for you guys. Feeling good?
Feeling great. Get a rematch with Louisville, who we've already beaten once this year.
Listen to you.
Or this season.
You're already excited. Here, Elisa went ahead and pulled some audio so that you could bask in this. Go ahead, Elisa.
I'm happy we won, and I wanted him to know, and I wanted his players to know, like, hey, guys, and I told him I watched tape of you guys, and it's amazing, and I'm happy for our guys, and I'm just disappointed because they had a heck of a run going.
Who is that, Elisa? You gotta give me a little heads up.
That's John Calipari.
Oh, okay. How did you not pick him, Alicia?
That's Italian.
Oh, that's Italian, I guess. Okay, I can see that. So I was explaining, I didn't do a bracket this year because I like watching the craziness of it. So I had my 6-year-old fill out the bracket. And so we looked at the bracket, and I would tell him the rankings, and then I'd tell him the mascot. And so he has Florida winning it all. Because
so do I.
Because he picked it because Disney World is in Florida.
Okay.
That's his mentality. That's his mentality. He has Michigan in the Final Four because their mascot is the Wolverine.
Right.
That's his favorite comic book character. So that's the logic he used.
Respectable.
Better than Villanova. No offense to Alicia Cruz. All right, Sam, we brought you to talk a little bit about health care, the ACA, the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, whatever you call it these days. Over the weekend, we commemorated the 4-year anniversary. If you can, condense those 4 years into a little explanation of sort of where it's been and where we are now with it in terms of the implementation, the rollout, and what's active now.
Sure. At least in terms of the policy of it, sort of the substance of it, those 4 years have all truly been leading up to this, not just in the literal sense, but we're right now coming up on the end of the first open enrollment period with people actually signing up. So, over the 4 years, you've seen certainly the politics of it have been up and down. You have seen a lot of delays, a couple of parts of the law just sort of fall by the wayside. But we're now coming up on the end of what looks to be, all things considered, a reasonably successful open enrollment period. They might even get pretty close to that revised 6 million number of people enrolling. So, it's all been sort of preparation for actually getting people enrolled. I would say the biggest surprise we saw over the past 4 years was definitely October 1st, the terrible rollout of the website. That's what sort of made people concerned that we wouldn't get to where we are now, but here we are.
I want to play a clip because over the weekend, Vice President Joe Biden, Elisa, this is the first clip. We could probably play both of them, actually. But let's start with that first one about the website because he actually had some comments about it.
The president and I was as frustrated as anyone you ever knew, but it's basically fixed.
It's basically fixed. Is he right?
Yeah, with basically. The word basically in there. There's a couple things that still have to be done that are all sort of on the back end, not the part that you or I or consumers would use, but like the system to pay insurance companies for the subsidies that people get hasn't been built yet. So they're getting paid, but in a sort of workaround way. But it's probably reasonable if you promise them billions of dollars in subsidies to then build the system that delivers said billions of dollars in subsidies.
Yeah.
So that hasn't been done, but it is basically fixed.
The vice president went on and talked about a lot of the frustrations and where the president is on that.
My boss, my friend, Barack Obama, is an incredibly patient man. I suggested after going through the first couple weeks, I would nominate him for sainthood, that he kept his patience.
I can't imagine that a lot of Republicans would share that sentiment. They still look at Obamacare and the ACA as a major problem, right?
Yeah, they do. They have never liked the sort of basic structure of it, even though it's very similar to what Mitt Romney did in Massachusetts. They see it as a program that can't succeed, even if it achieves what it set out to achieve in their, and there are a lot of very smart people on the right who really do understand it and think that this is the wrong direction to take the healthcare system in the United States. And it's looking like a pretty good political weapon for them this year as well. So.
You would think, I find it fascinating that here we are 4 years later, and it still is sort of a boogeyman out there. There have been a couple of defectors, Republicans who have just said, look, it's here. We're not going to repeal it, especially as long as Barack Obama is president, which he has a pretty long run here. It's not like it's going to go away anytime soon. And yet they still think that repealing it, these votes to repeal are going to get them anywhere. Has there been any progress or is there any point in all these repeal votes, or is it just all symbolic?
I'd say it's all symbolic. There have been a couple of relatively minor things that the president has actually signed. But again, those have been very minor, and it is a pretty small share of the, I think, 54 total votes now. So that's just about politics. There's no, it's not going anywhere. And now you're seeing House Republicans continuing to edge toward maybe we'll come up with a replacement plan,
right?
But you're not going to be in a position to replace it.
And also, right, exactly. That's the biggest point,
right?
But I also think another point is, it has been 4 years, and there has been no backup plan or alternative plan that's been offered. You'd think that if they really wanted to go this route of getting rid of Obamacare, they would have their ducks in a row and say, we need to repeal this and replace it with this.
Yeah, and the longer this goes, let's just take this to its logical conclusion. Maybe in 2016, if you still have a Republican Senate and you get a Republican president, but how many people are going to have health insurance by then? And when you talk about Obama said you could keep your plan if you liked your plan, well, now you're going to have 6 million, maybe 7 million by then people who you're going to kick them off their plan. It's just probably not realistic, but I guess it works for campaigns.
That, I think, is the strongest thing that the White House can sort of promote, right? Not that, we are coming close to the enrollment numbers that have been sort of revised and changed and all this. It's that we now have. How many people are now covered by the Affordable Care Act?
So we actually don't know that.
Okay. Okay, well, argument deflated.
Close
Continue.
We can get close. Close to about 5 million at the midpoint of this month. But we don't know how many of those people have actually paid their premium, and you're not covered till you pay your premium. So
I understand.
A little bit less than 5 million.
Okay, so let's say nearly 5 million people. That's 5 million people that didn't have real health care coverage before this. That's, I think, a big point that they can hammer home.
They can, yeah. We may never get the number of how many people actually were uninsured before this, which would be sort of the thing that could deflate that point, because we don't know how many people are coming in for the first time and how many just had their plans canceled and had to buy a new plan.
I see.
The way these numbers are surging here in March, which was always expected, I would think that ratio is getting a little better, that more previously uninsured people are coming in. We don't know for sure, but you're right. It's 5 million people, and it'll be higher at the end of the month who have health care.
I know that this is a story from a couple of weeks ago, but the president, when he went on Between Two Ferns.
Yes.
And I thought it was well done. I thought it was very funny. But above and beyond that, it really drove people to take a look at healthcare.gov, right?
Yeah, it did. I think they got exactly what they wanted out of it. I forget the exact numbers, but they got a huge amount of traffic to the site from that. And it's exactly who they're trying to reach. They're trying to reach young, relatively healthy men. And that, I've watched all of the Between Two Ferns. I suspect you have too.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's it worked. And I agree with you. It was well done. And, some people thought it was beneath the presidency or whatever.
Abraham Lincoln wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, he wouldn't have done anything on the internet. I know, right? He died in 1865. It's not...
I think it's fascinating that he did it. I think that it's... I'm even more fascinated by the amount of traffic that was driven there. I genuinely was surprised. I didn't think it would get that much traffic, but it really did. All right, we're talking about the 4-year anniversary of the Affordable Care Act with Sam Baker, healthcare correspondent from National Journal. You can follow him on Twitter at Sam_Baker and online at nationaljournal.com. We are going to take a quick break. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill Press today, Monday, March 24th. We'll be right back with more on the Affordable Care Act. Stay tuned.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Aww, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork. Loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov. If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we have pep talkers standing by to get you motivated for your GED diploma. Text the name Terry to 69222 for a sympathetic pep talk.
You show people what you really are.
Or for a gentle pep talk, text the name Deborah.
You know you're going to make people very proud of you.
And if that's not enough, text the name Danny for an extreme pep talk.
Prove everyone wrong. Show them you're the boss.
Get your GED pep talk and find free GED classes. Text the name of the person you want a pep talk from to 69222.
Did you see the world differently? Did you celebrate the victory?
So today, I state clearly and with conviction America's commitment to seek the peace and security of a world without nuclear weapons.
Did you stand up against our greatest threat? Change the world.
On your radio, on TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
It is The Bill Press Show. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill Press today, 23 minutes past the hour on this Monday, March 24th. So I hosted the show on Friday. Sam Baker from National Journal joins us in studio. Follow him on Twitter at Sam_Baker. Thanks for coming in, Sam.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
I hosted on Friday, and I made everybody that come in defend their first tweet. You know, Twitter put out this little device, this website. You could go, you enter in anyone's name, Twitter handle, and it'll tell you what their very first tweet was. So I made everybody defend their tweet. Everybody on the show, defend your first tweet.
Did people have a hard time?
Some people had a hard time because it was like, okay, Twitter, here I am, or ready to get Twittering, or testing. So yours, Sam_Baker. I'm going to make you defend your tweet. 11:31 p.m., August 21st, 2008. Been on Twitter for a while. First tweet. Is it Biden time yet? I want to go to bed. Sam, defend your tweet.
That is the night that we were all waiting with anticipation to see who Barack Obama would pick to be his running mate.
Uh-huh.
It was clearly going to be Joe Biden.
Mm-hmm.
There was all this nonsense.
But it hadn't been announced yet.
Right. But it was obviously he had to pick Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Clearly he already had.
Yeah.
And they still had camera crews staking out Evan Bayh's house like there was any chance that was going to happen. And I defend my
Very
tweet.
presciently.
Yeah, it's clearly going to be Biden. Just do it. I'm tired. It was 11:30.
Tweet defended, sir. Well done.
Thank you.
A Biden prediction and also a good classic Twitter complaint. I want to go to bed. And plus,
I think the cranky strain has lived on throughout the life of my Twitter. I think that was a good omen.
Sam_Baker. And if you follow Sam, if you look back at his tweets from yesterday, a lot of Kentucky basketball tweets.
Yes. I went a little nuts.
Naturally, you're such a big Kentucky basketball fan. You got to win in the whole thing, right?
I went very nuts yesterday. I was very excited about yesterday's win.
You can defend your tweet. You can't defend your bracket, I guess.
That's right. But I'd rather have my team than my bracket. I didn't fully trust them. They had they were a little up and down, but
well defended. All right, so we're talking about the 4-year anniversary of the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, call it what you will. Sam, you've done some great writing, nationaljournal.com, on where this goes next, because there's still a lot of conversation on the issue of the contraception mandate. For those of us that maybe haven't been following this as closely as you have, explain the contraception mandate and what that means and what we're looking at there.
Sure. So there is a provision of the Affordable Care Act that requires employer health care plans to cover a certain set of preventive services. And it's actually a pretty long list of things that have to be in your plan. They let an expert panel at the Institute of Medicine decide what ought to be a preventive service. And one of the things that panel came up with was FDA-approved contraception.
Mm-hmm.
So your plan or your employer's plan now has to cover every FDA-approved contraceptive. What is in front of the Supreme Court tomorrow are a couple of for-profit businesses that have challenged that and said we shouldn't have to cover that because we, the owners of the company, have a religious objection either to contraception or to a couple of forms of FDA-approved contraception.
Okay, so the Supreme Court is now going to take a look at this, and what does that mean for the future of Obamacare? Where could this go? What could this lead to?
It's an interesting case. It's not that huge for the future of Obamacare. You know, this is a popular benefit, and it's, but it's not sort of the center of the law. Like the last time this was at the Supreme Court, it was the individual mandate, and if that went, everything else could fall around it. That's not, you wouldn't see that happen if they strike down the contraception mandate.
Right.
But there could be much bigger implications outside of Obamacare, depending on the answer to this question of can a corporation exercise religion?
Yeah.
Or can the owner of that corporation sort of be both the person who is religious and the corporation at the same time? So there are bigger implications way beyond Obamacare.
Corporations are people too, my friend.
I will find out just how much that's true.
Very wise words spoken by Mitt Romney. So, it will be very interesting to see how this goes. And Hobby Lobby is sort of the big leader in this, right? So if you've heard of the Hobby Lobby case, like this is what we're talking about. I think that, by the time that the president is out of office, which is going to happen, a lot of the kinks in Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, will have been taken care of. People will see how much good work has been done. It'll be several more years before that happens, and who even knows how many people are going to be enrolled at that point. So we'll continue to monitor it. We'll continue to have you on to talk about it. Sam Baker from the National Journal. Follow him on Twitter at Sam_Baker. Go Wildcats?
Yes. Yes, always.
Bracket be damned. Bracket be busted. All right, it's the Bill Press Show. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill. We are going to take a quick break. We are going to talk some sports with Travis Waldron from Think Progress. Coming up next, the Bill Press Show.
This is the Bill Press Show.
This is my computer.
This is your computer. Let's go on the internet.
Let's go. Click it.
Yes.
Okay.
Eye cursor in between the R and the E. Pressing down, I want you to just push the period.
She's gonna love me all over again.
That's it. Jamaica, here you go.
Here we go.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I did it by myself. Feel smarter.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. You know, I followed your character since the first episode. I'm a big fan. Big fan. Thank you. And listen, your storyline, it makes for incredible TV drama. Thing is, your drug use is very adult content. Too adult for the kids. So I'm gonna have to block you.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, have a good one.
You're a nice lady.
On your radio, on TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
Yes, it is the Bill Press Show, 33 minutes past the hour on this Monday, March 24th. Clearly, I am not Bill Press. My name is Peter Ogburn. I'm sitting in for Bill today. Thank you so much for being here. I brought in our good friend Travis Waldron to help us talk about some basketball. Think Progress, sports reporter. Follow him on Twitter at Travis_Waldron and online at thinkprogress.org. Travis, good morning. Thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
I know you are, I somehow booked the two biggest Kentucky basketball fans in Washington, D.C., you and Sam Baker back to back.
It's a nice day. Today is a happy day.
All right, so Kentucky won a big game yesterday. I'm sure that you have them going all the way since you're such a big Kentucky fan. Oh, okay.
I don't.
You and Sam both, huh?
I did. So I filled out a bracket in a random ESPN pool that has Kentucky winning the whole thing.
Okay.
But I didn't want to do it because I had to write a preview for the website, and I put my bracket in the preview, and I didn't want to look like a total homer. And so I didn't pick them.
That's very huge win yesterday, though.
It was huge. And better than that, it was an excellent game. It was just after sitting through Kansas-Stanford for the first 2 hours of the basketball day and watching what was just an abomination of basketball, to go from that, I really wish I could have been a more neutral observer of that Kentucky-Wichita State game, because I'm
just
sure
to enjoy it.
I'm sure it was an excellent game to watch, aside from having a team involved. And I was kind of bummed too. Like Wichita State is a great story, and I would have loved to have seen Wichita State make a run like they did last year. I'm glad that if they were going to lose, they lost in a way where they played really well.
Yeah.
And they lost to a team that was playing very well.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
So it
wasn't a complete failure.
Right. Like, people can't now say, oh, well, Wichita State was clearly overrated.
Right.
And
right.
So it was a great day for basketball, though.
Here on the Bill Press Show, we have we've done our brackets. Bill doesn't watch any sports.
Right.
At all. So naturally, Bill is in the lead.
Of course.
That's
how
how
things
it
always
works.
work.
Bill has Louisville winning it all.
Oh, man, that hurts.
Because you know why he picked Louisville?
Why
Because
is
he
it?
likes saying Louisville. He just likes saying Louisville. He likes the way that it's pronounced. I kid you not. That's how he picked.
Does he say it? Does he say Louisville? Does he say it right?
Louisville.
That's good.
Yeah, I know.
That's good.
He learned that that's the way you say
See,
it.
it's painful when you watch on ESPN and you hear all these guys saying Louisville. And it's like, that's not the name of our. That's not the name of my hometown.
He pronounces the hell out of it.
Good.
He nails it.
Good.
Louisville. Louisville is how Bill says it.
You do a pretty good job too.
I try. Elisa Murphy you're in second place, Elisa.
Yeah,
She's
even
got
though Syracuse
Michigan.
is out, I'm still in.
She's got Michigan winning it all, but she also had Syracuse in the Final Four. They lost to Dayton. Yeesh. Dayton is becoming like the dunk city of this year, right? Like the underdog, the total underdog.
It's fun. It could have been Mercer, but they struggled yesterday.
Yeah.
So.
And how about Tennessee?
Right.
I mean, coming out of the play-in game.
As someone who was born a Kentucky fan, not a big Tennessee fan, but I like their coach. And also, Tennessee is kind of a win for advanced metrics. I'm a big advanced stats guy.
Yeah.
And if you look at the ratings that are based purely on numbers, Tennessee was ranked in the top 15 all year.
No kidding.
Yeah, Ken Pomeroy, who does advanced rankings, had them in the top 15 all season.
That's
and everybody was
fascinating.
Why is Tennessee up here? And now you see maybe Tennessee was a lot better than what they looked like for most of the season.
I love that. That's super cool. Yeah, because
his ratings don't take into account wins or losses. They simply take into account tempo, how your offense does, how your defense does, efficiency wise. And he had Tennessee up there all year, and now here they are.
When we filled out our bracket, it was still Iowa/Tennessee,
right?
And so it's just sort of an afterthought. So
I had him losing to Duke. So
okay, yeah. Well, see how well that turned out. So what I did with my bracket is I decided to not do a bracket this year. I delegated the bracket to my 6-year-old.
There you go.
And I said, we'll sit down and we'll talk about who's who here. We talked about the numbers, where they're ranked, and we'll talk about their mascots. And I showed him some videos of various things, right? So he has Florida winning it all. Magnus, my 6-year-old.
It's a good choice.
He's got Florida winning it all because that's where Disney World is.
Fair.
He has Michigan.
Don't ever take him to Gainesville.
No, don't worry. Exactly. I'll let him think that it's just a magical.
If he's picking it because of Disney World, don't ever take him to Gainesville. He'll be sorely disappointed.
He has Michigan in the Final Four because their mascot is the Wolverine,
right?
And that's his favorite comic book character. So he figures Wolverines are going to go pretty far. So right now Magnus is in 3rd place, but he still has 8 out of his 16, which is that's how many Bill has.
There you go.
The thing is, here among the staff, Alicia Cruz is completely out because she picked Villanova to win it all.
Ouch.
You know why she picked Villanova?
Why?
She picked all of the Latin names to win. Which, in terms of methodology, like Gonzaga.
Okay.
Right? What other ones are there, Alicia? We were looking around.
San Diego. Villanova.
Villanova. I love Villanova. Tejas? No. Anyway, I in terms of methodologies, you could probably do worse, but unfortunately, she's out. So let's talk about some of the other big upsets. Kansas yesterday losing to Stanford.
Yeah.
Stanford big underdogs, huh?
Right. It's kind of like when Harvard wins.
Right.
It's like, well, you're underdog, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, Kansas. This was always the question: it was without their best player, without their big man, Joel Embiid, could they get out of the weekend?
Yeah.
Could they get out of this weekend? And they just looked terrible.
Yeah, they really did. They looked bad.
They missed enough point-blank shots yesterday. I think at one point I saw they were 6 of 17 on shots at the rim.
Good grief, really?
And to lose a close game with that kind of... And Andrew Wiggins, bummer for him.
Yeah.
1 year in college and to go out with, I think he had 4 points and never got in a groove. But... yeah, I mean Stanford and Dayton for a Final Four spot, or for an Elite Eight spot.
Elite Eight. Yeah.
One of those teams is going to play to go to the Final Four, which is cool. I was kind of bummed, not just because I had Kansas in the Final Four, but because a healthy Kansas against Florida would have been one of the most compelling matchups of the season.
Yeah, I agree.
And they played earlier in the year, and Florida won a close game at home, and Kansas had grown since then, and Florida had grown since then, and it would have been a really good game. And I root for upsets in the first round, and then after that I root for like the really good games that I want to watch.
No, I see what you're saying. I mean, speaking of good games, this Kentucky-Louisville game coming up.
If you want to do a social experiment on what sports can do to a people in the city, go spend the next 5 days in Louisville, Kentucky.
Yeah?
Yeah, it is going to be... And then go up to Indianapolis on Friday.
Oh,
this is the amazing thing. Like, if you're a scalper in Indianapolis,
right,
you just won the lottery. Like, you have Kentucky and Louisville, 2 huge, passionate fan bases, both traveling less than 200 miles.
Right.
And
they'll be there.
Yeah, and
Holy
one
cow.
of them is then guaranteed to get to the second game.
Right.
So you're going to sell your tickets, and you're going to sell them for... And even then, I mean, Michigan, I looked it up last night. Michigan and Tennessee are also in Indianapolis, and they're both around 500. They're both within 500 miles or so.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, this is
That's great.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of... And both big fan bases.
Right.
So is going to... There's going to be a lot of basketball fans in Indianapolis this weekend.
Looking at a couple of other matchups.
I'm still thinking about going.
Are you
I'm
really?
Thinking about
Are you seriously?
Yes.
You should totally go. You should
plane
totally
tickets
go.
are not cheap.
Yeah, I get that.
But
if you go, you should call into the show.
I will.
Yeah.
I've only seen Kentucky. I covered Kentucky for the school paper when I was in college, and I went to one NCAA tournament game to cover them. But I've
what
never.
Year was that?
That was in 2007, I think, and they lost in the first round, which was actually kind of nice because then I didn't have to work the rest of the weekend, so I just got to sit on media row and watch basketball.
As a fan, it sucked, but in terms of a gig, that's not a bad one.
And that team was also it was a hard team to cover. They struggled.
Yeah.
So, but I got to sit up close with Kevin Love was at UCLA that year.
Oh, nice.
And got to sit up close and watch Kevin Love and Stanford was out there when the Lopez twins were there. So
yeah.
Got to see some good basketball up
Nice.
close. Just wasn't Kentucky playing it.
Speaking of other good basketball games coming up, so Arizona, number 1, is going to be going up against San Diego State. San Diego State has been, I mean, they're obviously a good team, but they've been really impressive in the tournament, I think.
Yeah, that game's going to be a slog.
Yeah.
That's 2 good defensive teams that are somewhat limited on offense.
Right.
And I have Arizona winning it all.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask.
I think Arizona has been impressive. They lost one of their better players for the season back in February, but they've still been rolling, so... I think they struggled a little bit since they lost him, but I like Arizona. I think they're a good team. They're big. They play good defense. They're good enough on offense. And I have them beating Michigan State.
Okay,
in the
so
final.
You have Michigan State in the final. I/Magnus has Florida, Arizona for the final.
It's a good pick. I like that, especially Florida. If Florida gets past UCLA, they've got a little bit of a, they're going to have Stanford or Dayton. And
yeah, exactly.
They should win that game.
They should win
Right.
that game. Hey, I want to play this one clip of Coach K. I know we're going a little over on time, at least, so that's all right. Let's play that one clip of Coach K from Duke after losing to Mercer in the first round.
I'm disappointed for our team because, I thought it wasn't easy. Like Hood and Parker did not have easy games tonight. And our backcourt, our guys played their hearts out. And so did those two kids. And, we showed our youth.
I want to bring something up that I saw some conversation about this on Twitter. So Coach K went over to Mercer's team afterwards and said, hey, good job. Great job. Gave him sort of his blessing of like the win was okay. Clinton Yates, our friend here on the show, is going to be hosting the show later on this week. He thought that was a really condescending move.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about this on Twitter. I disagree. I think like I could see that. I hadn't thought of it that way until I saw Clinton post that. Coach K is a legend.
Yeah. And
he's won gold medals, he's won national titles, he's coached a bunch of guys to the NBA. Coach K gets a lot of hate. He seems to me like a really genuine lover of the game of basketball, of college basketball in particular. And I think like he appreciated what Mercer did. They were going up against one of the biggest names in the sport in Duke and played without any fear at all. Came in and just played their game and won. And I think it was kind of, if I was one of those kids from Mercer, none of whom probably were even on Duke's radar at any point, I would have thought it was pretty cool for him to come over and say, hey, great game.
I agree with you. I think that Coach K knows that those kids know on Mercer what it would have meant to have him come over and say, that was a hell of a game.
And also, I think, for them to beat Duke, it's not like they beat any 3 seed. This is one of college basketball's blue blood programs, one of the biggest name coaches. And for him to come over and just say, hey, congrats.
Right.
I think it's pretty cool. I can see Clinton's point.
Yeah.
Maybe could be taken that way. I thought it was pretty cool.
All right. Good stuff. We're going to take a quick break. We've got a lot of other stuff coming up. Travis Waldron, sports reporter for Think Progress, is in studio with us, celebrating Kentucky's win, and a lot more other stuff coming up. It's the Bill Press Show. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in. We'll be right back.
This is the Bill Press Show.
It is possible to read the history of this country as one long struggle to extend the liberties established in our Constitution to everyone in America. In other words, who, according to our laws and culture, gets to be considered a person? The law creates legal personhood, and movements create law and change culture. So, how have the courts passed laws to shape our culture? That history goes way back before Citizens United. 1819, Dartmouth College versus Woodward, Supreme Court case, turned a corporate charter from a government-granted charter to a contract. This ruling gave corporations standing within the Constitution. 1886, Santa Clara County versus Southern Pacific Railroad. Though the court did not rule on corporate personhood, the decision was subsequently cited as a precedent to hold that a private corporation is entitled to the same 14th Amendment rights of due process and equal protection as human beings. This makes it impossible for us to make laws that treat local businesses any differently than giant multinational corporations, even if their business practices are deemed to be harmful to workers, the environment and communities, or if they have a history of violating the law. Hale versus Henkel, 1906. The court granted corporations the Fourth Amendment search and seizure protection. Dodge versus Ford Motor Company, 1919. The Michigan Supreme Court says the business corporation is organized and carried on primarily for the profit of the stockholders. Stockholder primacy is established. The purpose of the corporation, according to the court, is no longer to serve the public good, as it had been. It is now to maximize profit for shareholders above all else. Pennsylvania Coal Company versus Mahon, 1922. Corporations get the Fifth Amendment takings clause, meaning if you pass a regulation that impacts a corporation's ability to make a profit, that is deemed a taking, and they can sue for the right to future profits lost. This creates a chilling effect, and local and state governments become much more hesitant to pass laws in the public interest for fear that corporations can claim loss of potential profits that cities and states will be on the hook to pay. Buckley versus Vallejo, 1976. The Supreme Court rules that spending money to influence elections is protected under the First Amendment, in effect saying that money is speech. Citizens United versus Federal Election Commission, 2010.
Today, the Supreme Court of Chief Justice John Roberts declared that because of the alchemy of its 19th century predecessors in deciding that corporations had all the rights of people, any restrictions on how these corporate beings spend their money on political advertising are unconstitutional.
The court's ruling threatens to undermine the integrity of elected institutions across the nation. It's a rejection of the common sense of the American people.
Seen on Free Speech TV and online on TawkrTV. This is the Bill Press Show.
It is the Bill Press Show, Monday, March 24th. My name is Peter Ogren, sitting in for Bill Press today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Now, Travis Waldron, our guest, sports reporter for Think Progress, Travis_Waldron on Twitter, and online at thinkprogress.org. I mentioned Twitter. I've been asking guests since Twitter put out this this new thing, right? So it's discover your first tweet. I've been making all of the guests that come in studio defend your tweet.
Okay.
So, Travis, I looked yours up. Travis Waldron, 10 p.m., November 12th, 2008.
Good Lord.
2008.
That's old.
Travis Waldron. Just another freak in a freak kingdom. Travis Waldron, defend your tweet.
All right. So that's a Hunter S. Thompson quote.
Okay.
I'm a huge Hunter Thompson fan. I had no earthly idea what Twitter was.
Okay.
If it happened at 10 p.m. in 2008, I was a junior in college.
Yeah. Connect the dots.
And probably thought it was like just a profile quote or something.
Yeah.
I had no clue what Twitter
understand.
was. I signed up. I had just gotten an internship in D.C., so everybody was like, you have to do all this social media stuff.
I'm going to be honest with you. I like that.
Thanks.
I think I
had no idea what I was doing.
It's okay. You know what? I would much rather have this than all the ones that were like, hello, Twitter. I'm now joining Twitter.
I don't think there was anybody on Twitter when I signed up.
Testing. 2008. You've been on it for a while, dude.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Well, that's how you get 30,000 tweets or whatever it is.
That's right.
Like, one day I'm going to look back and I'm going to be like, I wasted a lot of time.
I think we're all going to do that. I think we're all going to do that. Travis_Waldron on Twitter. Okay, so just a couple minutes before we have to take a break, but I wanted to ask you about this. A new study by ABC News, Washington Post, on the issue of paying college athletes, which is an idea that's been floating around here more and more, of should we pay college athletes. A large majority opposes paying NCAA athletes. Why? Why is it a bad idea?
I think the NCAA, why is it a bad idea? I think the NCAA has crafted a very fine messaging campaign on this about how important amateurism is.
Yeah.
And they have propagated the idea that this is about school first, which is, look, the team that wins the national championship is going to spend a month away from campus before it's over.
Yeah.
The larger part of a month. And, that people actually think that college sports should be about amateurism and are going to be different fundamentally if we pay these kids, which takes ignoring this is what the International Olympic Committee said. This is what Major League Baseball said about free agency. Nothing's changed. The most interesting part about that poll, I thought, was the split between whites and non-whites.
Just looking at that.
Which is interesting because if you look at college sports, the decision makers are largely white men. It's 90% of athletic directors in the D1 level and 100% of major college commissioners. A majority of the players in Division I men's basketball and big time, like the bold subdivision football, a majority are non-white.
Yeah.
And so it's, there's a question here of, Is there a racial dynamic here? I would argue there is. We probably don't have enough time to get the way into the explanation of that, but
we don't. But it's an excellent point to end on, and we'll certainly sort of keep an eye on this as it goes on, and we'll be talking about it with you. Good luck getting the Wildcats to where they need to go, Travis.
Yes.
Look, I'm rooting for the craziness of it all. I have no dog in this fight, so I'd love to see Kentucky beat Louisville. All right, it's the Bill Press Show. Peter Ogburn in for Bill. Quick break. We'll be right back with one short segment.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Hey friends, do you realize that heart disease kills more Americans every year than all forms of cancer combined? So when you donate to the American Heart Association, you're contributing to life-saving research with every dollar. You can make your donation today through the Pop Money personal payment service. All you do is download the app or go online to popmoney.com. Sign up to send your donation to jessica.gramillion@heart.org. jessica.gramillion@heart.org. Here's the best part. The 95-cent fee is assessed to you, the sender, regardless of how much money you contribute. That means that 100% of your donation goes to support the ongoing research to help save lives across America. No fees are paid by the American Heart Association, getting more bang for your buck. And of course, terms and conditions apply.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
At Earth Justice, we defend the environment in the courtroom. Join our fight. When you take a seat, you take a stand. Earth Justice, because the Earth needs a good lawyer.
NIH's We Can program.
This is the Bill Press Show.
It is the Bill Press Show. My name is Peter Ogburn, filling in for Bill today. I will be back tomorrow. However, we have filled the rest of the show with wonderful, wonderful guest hosts. Evan McMorris Santoro from BuzzFeed, Clinton Yates from The Washington Post, and Sabrina Siddiqui from Huffington Post, all coming in to host while Bill is away. So I thank you all so very much for tuning in. We've got a lot more stuff to talk about. The president's European trip continues. He's going to be meeting with the Pope later on this week, which is giant. We'll definitely be talking about that. Of course, Michelle Obama is in China, so we may have some stuff to talk about there as well. We'll be back tomorrow, the Bill Press Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. See you then. Bye.
This is the Bill Press Show.